views and disclaimer. Welcome to Two Cops, One Donut podcast. The views and opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Two Cops, One Donut, its host, or affiliates. The podcast is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. We do not endorse any guests' opinions or actions discussed during the show. Any content provided by guests is of their own volition, and listeners are encouraged to form their own opinions. Furthermore, some content is graphic and has harsh language. Viewer discretion advised and is intended for mature audiences. Two Cops, One Donut and its host do not accept any liability for statements or actions taken by guests. Thank you for listening.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Alan, how you been doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just getting the day going here. Long work day, and so trying to flip the gears and get the computer all ironed out. I have like two separate systems, and so when it's time to go into podcast mode, I have to move everything aside. So I'm not using a work computer or any of that, but trying to figure it all out. And we were sitting there talking, and here I go. I was like, oh, I can't remember which button to press. And I couldn't find the right thumbnail to get the video to play. So here we are. We've got it going. So now I'm going to take a drink and be all calm now.
Well, everybody can see that Erik is unable to join us with his presence this evening. People get busy and they have lives, and Erik puts 100,000,000% into this show every single day. So obviously he gave us amount of time to know that he won't be able to be here, and asked if we could try to bring some stuff to y'all. So that's what we're going to do. And it's really different when he's not here, but we're going to do the best that we can. I know for me, I've had a busy couple weeks at work, and it's nice just to kind of take an evening off and be able to do this. This is a fun hobby of mine that's turned into a true passion, and I'm sure it's the same way with you, Alan. I mean, it's amazing stuff, and I love the people that have brought here because of what Erik has created. And it's kind of interesting to hear everybody's friggin' opinions on things, man. Some resonate with what we say, some don't, but we're here to bring our friggin' our expertise in the best we can, and truly bridging the gap between the community and law enforcement. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, lots of things have come in perspective in the last week, and we are going to keep the show neutral tonight, and we're not going to get into any of that kind of talk. And so I just want to throw that out in the very beginning, guys. We don't get into politics or any of that kind of stuff. And so we're going to keep that out of the show tonight. Feel free to get in the comments and get involved. But with that said, I know Tim's going to start it off for us. So Tim, you can go ahead and start posting all about the Discord and how to get in there and keep me laughing tonight. So, but all the normal people are saying good evening to both of us. And so we appreciate everything. To Mama Lavigne, hi, how are you this evening? And so, we love being here, guys, and we love the show, the passion about it. Yes, I'm happen to be wearing a donut shirt, but when I see different things about the donuts, it kind of makes me smile just to kind of know what we've been working on and doing behind the scenes. It's been a lot of fun so far.
Super exciting. And I can't remember, I think what's his name, Falk, around and find out, posted your shirt once a minute, probably your donut entourage sitting behind you on the couch as well. It's kind of neat to see where Erik's idea is evolving in this, and I think y'all will be super stoked and excited when you get to see some stuff coming out from DTV, the donut, man. It's exciting to be a real small part of it, but at least a part, and to see this stuff come to fruition and actually go out there. And these pilot episodes that are about to come out, I think are about to rock everybody's world and want to know more and want to see more. So super, super pumped about it, man. Work always keeps me busy. I love what I do for a living. I love being able to work with law enforcement still after being retired, and bringing them quality product. Man, it's a good feeling to be able to do that on a daily and sometimes nightly basis, depending on what part of the country that I'm talking to. But yeah, man, things have been fantastic. Not to throw personal stuff in there, but just found out my daughter is going to need braces. Yay! Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, so 10-year-old's going to need.
So don't let her forget about the retainer.
Well, we
And
funny because we were
you
just
spend
talking.
all that money. You
Yeah,
spend all that money on them, and then your son doesn't wear his retainer, and they
mm,
shift afterwards because
yeah,
everything softens up in there, and the retainer's supposed to be worn until it hardens back up.
yeah, yeah.
And then your 16-year-old son doesn't wear it,
Sure.
and now he has all these crooked teeth. And I'm like, dude, I paid a whole lot of money for you to have crooked
Yeah.
teeth.
So my wife was I wasn't able to be at that appointment. I was traveling and for the verification that she needed it or whatever and doing the whole insurance thing. And she was explaining to me and my 10-year-old daughter, Shelby, like, hey, at nighttime, you're going to have to put on this headgear for like, I think it's 6 months. I could be wrong. I was trying to listen. I get told I don't listen a lot, but when I was listening, I heard 6 months. A little joke. I'm sure my wife's watching right now. But so, and then right now, my daughter's in that excited phase because she watches whatever preteens watch, the cartoons and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Of course, some of those characters have braces, so she's super excited to perfect her smile. She's got a beautiful smile as it is, but she wants to perfect it, and so do we. And just blessed that we're going to be able to do it. But she's excited, like, so I get to wear headgear and then a retainer after it's all said and done with, and however many years that she's going to have to wear it for, depending on her body. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, you're excited right now until that little bit of pain and tension and and I'm going to encourage her the best I can just to get through the braces phase because I know it's going to be a real important part of her life. So, uh,
So falk around and find out, man. You got to be careful how you say that one. I said it the right way, but it
right, just
didn't sound right.
yeah,
Sugar-free gum, when they get tightened, helps with the pain, relieve the pain faster. And I will concur with that matter. My son, that's where his love for gum came from.
right,
He wasn't a big gum person until he got his braces. And so
yeah,
Steve Wallace is in the house. Always glad to have you. And I think you are the longest, like you're on more episodes than either one of us. So we're glad you're here.
yeah. We appreciate it,
All right.
guys. So, do you already have videos lined up? I meant to
Oh
ask you.
yeah, I've
Awesome.
got a bunch of stuff lined up. I don't know. I didn't even. All I did was open them up. I didn't even look at how much time is on each one of them.
Sure.
So, um, whenever we're ready to go that direction,
Heck
more
yeah.
than welcome to do it.
Whenever you pick it, we'll shoot it up there and just go. I think that's the best way
Okay.
to do it.
All right. Let's see. Is that one first on my list or okay? And if y'all have already showed so last week, I thought I was going to be able to get on. I got up in the room, did all the things. I have some little special equipment behind the scenes for doing the shows, and then I found real quick that it wasn't going to work.
Right.
And so I sat at the bar and enjoyed, put my earpods in and watched the show and did all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, we're
um,
always appreciative of when you're able to do. I know these people don't understand what you do in the background half the time when Eric and I are on, and I know for a fact I'm very thankful for it because our amazing people that are watching don't want banning to operate the operating system because who knows what would pop up. I'd probably pull up my own personal body camera stuff that I've got saved, and Lord knows I don't want to watch that. I mean, it's just
well,
boring.
maybe I need to log into your computer and you just need to turn your eye and we can,
Right, right.
I'm sure all the viewers would love it.
Sure, sure.
So,
Oh man.
okay. If I paid my bill, I'm hoping we don't have any pauses, but
Right.
let's see. Why is it not biggie sizing? I don't want to do it that way. Come on. So it biggie sized my whole computer. All right, I'll work through it. I'll get it started and we'll figure it out. Oh, that's what I got to do. Hold on, bear with me. So when you open YouTube or Google and all the different places, it wants to double them up. So come on.
I'm happy all I got to deal with is one small screen and let y'all do all the magic work.
All right, so here we go.
And Constitutional Country Girl News, I appreciate that comment, by the way. And as a dad, I'm not going to say I purchase more ammo each month, each year she gets older, but I may, as a joke, obviously. We're always protective of our kiddos, no matter what your career or profession is. That's your number one thing in life, is to provide a roof over that head, and the benefits of being able to get braces. I mean, I'm just blessed that I'm able to be able to put braces on this amazing gift from God, so to speak. So,
Are you hearing anything?
nope, just you and me
I
talking.
stopped it for a second. So, okay. We're not hearing anything, right?
Nope, nothing's coming through, except when you get up to the mic and you're like, oh, that's all I'm hearing. Just
Doing the whole Darth Vader.
I just picture you with no shirt on, sitting there making the same voice.
I actually, just before you joined tonight, I was like, oh, I need to go put my shirt on. Because this room is hot, man.
Right.
Well, we may not be having nothing, evidently. If Alan doesn't know how to figure out how to make it have sound.
Bear with us, guys. We're trying to get these videos ready, and as soon as we do, we'll bring them to you. Sorry, you just got our mugs to look at for right now.
Okay, so go to the tool. So, Banning, what does a day in the life of a salesman in law enforcement look like?
You say I have a
See what
salesman?
I did there? See, small talk?
So I'm not in sales. I'm in what's called business development because I'm not the guy that can sell the pen back to the pen company. What I am good at is contacts, amazing, around the world. I've been blessed with many connections on LinkedIn. So I utilize basically comms that I've had for the probably past 7-8 years on LinkedIn. It really blew up through I guess you want to call it the COVID time, putting out motivational stuff. And basically I open doors for sales because I truly back the product that we do sell, meaning the company itself. And it's computer aided dispatch, report management systems with analytics, man. And I've used what the world has to offer in 21 years for that, meaning I guess if you want to call it competition, and ours freaking smokes the doors off because that's all they concentrated on was strictly CAD and RMS. And they get advice from the right people and have the right engineers in place. So if I can just get the product in front of an administrator or patrol commander and show what it does, not only for the police department, the fire department or EMS, but what it does for dispatch, what it does for the citizens, how it becomes a glass door to where people can truly see statistics of what their agency that serves and protects them is doing. And I believe that is super important. And my company is knocking it out of the park when they do that in reference to the analytics side. So there's never a question on what's being done, how fast it's being done, and how long somebody's staying on something that needs to be done. It's all there and available to public through the administrators on FOIAs or Freedom of Information request, and it's accurate. That's the big thing. It's accurate. So it's super amazing to be a part of that, but to also travel the country, man, and see all different walks of life in law enforcement, dispatch, EMS, fire, even county and commissioners. And I've worked with a lot of local ones, but when you start going national on it, there is differences across the country in the way crime hits, and it's neat to kind of learn how it happens in different parts of the country. So it's I'm learning every day. I'll never be a master of anything, but I just learn as much as I can while I'm doing this.
Okay, tell me if you hear this, Manny.
Okay. Yes, it sounds like I'm at Super 8 and the neighbor's got the TV turned up too loud, but I can hear it.
Okay, no, that's like it's coming through my microphone, and I took my computer apart today and put it back together so I can take it to Atlanta this weekend. I built a mobile travel computer, and I'm wondering if I plugged in something wrong. Give me just a second. I'm going to look at it.
You bet. You bet. And I don't even know if Erik is blessed enough to be watching us tonight. Hopefully he is. I know he's busy with stuff, and Erik's got a big. He may be at work, as far as I know, but he's got a big event coming up. The National Real Time Crime Center Association coming up in Atlanta, and that's a neat event to be able to partake. I may be a little wrong. I think it's been going on now for at least 5 or 6 years, maybe going on longer, but it seems like that arena is growing like crazy, because you as a citizen, if you're in a decent sized town, you should always want what is called a real-time crime center. And that is what they can do is friggin' amazing. How they assist patrol, how they assist the citizens. And I don't know if you've been able to hear me while I was talking, Alan, but just kind of talking about real-time crime centers and how amazing they are. Now you can probably hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Obviously you can't. Hopefully my mic didn't get shut off. Maybe it's me. Hey, Alan, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I kind of can hear you, but not the right way.
Gotcha.
Test.
But if there's officers watching from around the country,
My mic works, right? Shake your head, Benny.
Yeah, you're good. And guys, we're just working through this technical difficulty. Bear with us, and we'll get these videos up. And thank you, Mama Jones, for letting me know that I can be heard. Yeah, I guess I almost did a commercial for a cell phone company asking Alan if he can hear me now. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Does anybody else? Yeah, you sound good, man. I can hear you.
Oh, let's see you plug it back in, Benny. How about now? Say something for me.
Can you hear me? Hello. ¿Cómo está mi papi? No? Hello? Alan, can you hear me?
Test.
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I'm going to go out and come back in. You're not going to get dropped.
Well, I guess it's just me, so I apologize. I'm texting with Alan right now. I'm sorry that you guys gotta look at this. Well, while he works out the details on this, I wish I was tech savvy enough to share something on my screen to kill the time. I would probably bore you all to death. If somebody wants to teach me about green screens a little bit better, see this green hue on my hat? That's because I think I have too much light amplified on this big green billboard back here. Tim says, blink twice if you need help, Alan. Updating Erik here to let him know we're getting through some tech difficulties. I'm not even sure if he's able to watch tonight. There's Ellen. Can you hear me, Ellen?
How about now, Benny?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? No?
Dang it.
I got to see who's one of them up there. Just says a LinkedIn user. I'm sure they're connected to me. I'm trying to see who it is. Either David Cordoso, which David, I did get your text. I've been a very busy bee this weekend. I will get back to you. Or it could be Brad Dorr. I'm not sure. It's not syncing up. It's going to be one of those two if I were betting. Hey, whoever says I can hear you both on LinkedIn, tell me if if that's Brad Dorr or David Cordoso, just so I know who it is. For whatever reason, LinkedIn is not.
Can you hear me now, Benny?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's David. Figured. Okay, thank you, David.
Yeah, I just got to figure out why you're so quiet. Okay.
You got major echo, just FYI.
All of it's an echo? Okay. It worked fine before I started the podcast.
While you're doing that, I'm going to try to log on to my YouTube, which is not paid, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll have to deal with some commercials. But let me see if I have the ability. Let's see. We said we were pulling that from police activity, right, Alan? Okay. Am I back? Somebody said I froze.
You're back.
Okay.
Do I still have the echo?
Yeah, your echo's better. It's understandable now.
So that's weird. All right, let's see if YouTube plays. Can you hear it?
I can't hear anything. What if you share your screen again? Your screen's not shared.
Oh, that helps. Man, you guys would think I've never done this.
He's wearing all black.
Yep. You're good. I can hear it.
San Francisco 911, what's the exact location emergency?
Hi, someone is in my house. He's just leaving. He was in the yard, but I think he climbed the roof and now he's leaving.
You said he climbed onto your house?
I am inside the house, and then I hear noises
11:08
upstairs, and I think he was in the roof. And I just saw him running away.
Okay. And which way is he going?
He's going towards York Street. He's wearing all black. He's not walking very fast. It seems like either he's injured or something. I don't know, but he's stumbling.
All right, give me your thoughts there, Banning. I'm going to move my computer just a second so my headphones get closer.
I think the female that called in is explaining what she's seeing. I mean, that's obviously what I'm seeing here on camera. I think it qualifies for a welfare check in reference to, does he need some type of medical help? I don't know if he's got a phone. Don't know if he's able to get aid. But this was something that I'd roll down my window as a police officer and say, "Sir, do you need any medical attention?" If he says no, the stop is over. But that's what Banning would do. It's not necessarily what everybody else would do.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I qualify this as a welfare check because he's in the public's eye view. People are concerned with his limp. He could have been hit by a car, etc. Make sure he's good. If he's good, it's time to go because you don't have a legal reason to keep it.
In your terms, what does a welfare concern mean? I know, like if somebody outside of our world might not exactly know when we say across the radio, "Hey, we need a welfare concern."
Sure. The best describe that to people, it's basically, if you look up the definition of a reasonable and prudent person that's calling, that states that they're seeing something that's abnormal. You know, most people when they walk down the street, I mean, you're going to have people that have physical disabilities, and there's nothing illegal with that. But if somebody looks scared and they're limping like this, I don't blame somebody for calling to truly just want to check on somebody. They're not trying to jack them up. And until the mid 80s, you know, this type of call would come out and they would literally summon a fire truck or an ambulance, and they would just go ride by and check on him. And that started to change when, unfortunately, when rounds started coming down range at our brothers in the red trucks and ambulances for going out there just doing welfare checks on people. So dispatches or administrators have kind of switched that to law enforcement being the first one going out, maybe having EMS or fire department on a safe standby on a side street away from it to deem that it's safe. And then if they do need medical care, then they can roll them in. But just to save time, they may dispatch both and have fire and EMS just staging back. I have no clue what this video is about yet, but just based on what I've heard and what I'm seeing enough for a welfare check for a patrol officer to swing by and say, "Are you okay?" And if the guy's like, "I'm fine, leave me alone," or didn't even answer you, but acknowledges that you're there, there's no reason to keep him there. You don't have any evidence of a crime from what I'm seeing right now. Climbing that fence, it looks like it goes out to a highway or a roadway. So I'm not thinking that he's criminal trespassing unless he's in a neighborhood that's completely blocked off. Then that's a different story. But you've got to look at the totality of the circumstances on it.
Yeah, many times they'll just put that fence up to slow pedestrians to get them to go to more of a crossing area, but it's not actually against the law. Right. All they're doing is trying to slow wildlife away from the intersection / people are considered wildlife in that situation. So
exactly.
We'll keep going here. Now we may need medical assistance.
You all right? Come over here. Let's get it's cars. Let's go over here. What's that? Hey, back. Hey, watch out.
Is it, I got to ask you, Alan, is it real jotty on your end?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it was the internet or just the way it was uploaded.
I think it's the way it's uploaded because it's not real clear for me. So if that keeps up, I will try a better way. But
let's go over here.
So he calls the subject to him because right now he's in my thoughts, he's a danger to himself. Now he's also a danger to all these moving cars. So it went from something small to now he is potentially putting motorists at risk.
Yeah, and I have no problem with the officer, because this is a very congested highway. Getting up there, he probably has his rear deck emergency lights on, and getting out and asking him if he's okay. And obviously, this is escalating into something. I love the fact that the title of the video is not up here, so I can't look up there and try to guess what's going to happen based on what it says. But a reasonable and prudent person, and I'm referring to that because I want people to understand what that is, and they'll go look it up and define it as they see fit after they read it. It doesn't act like this coming up to a uniformed patrol officer on a street. So I'm sure the cackles on the officer's back of the neck and spidey senses are going like crazy right now, trying to determine what this guy is doing. He has a legal reason to be there, meaning the law enforcement officer. They were called there. He justified it by seeing the limp, I'm assuming, and then sees him on the street. Now, most states state it's illegal to walk on a highway, even in the emergency lane, only because there's so many fatalities a year. So they deemed that as something similar to a Class C or a traffic stop, running a stop sign type thing, ticketable offense, to encourage people not to be on a road. And I understand there's different circumstances on homelessness. I understand when your car breaks down. I understand all that. But what I'm saying is that law is there. So he does have an absolute legal right to be there, and at least ask the gentleman if he's okay. Maybe give him a ride, get him up. Maybe he needs to go to the hospital. Maybe he was in a car wreck. There's so many maybes and what ifs right now that I'm sure are running through this officer's head. He may know him from a previous contact, or it may just be somebody completely new to him. So.
And most of the time when you work a district, the person, like you get to know. Unfortunately, you get to know some of the same people over and over and over, and that's part of the reason why you always consistently work the same districts in bigger cities. Smaller city like me, I only deal with the same people because those are the same people that decide they don't want to follow the rules.
What's that? Hey, come back. Hey, watch out. Drop it.
Did you see what he had in his hand?
Drop it. Okay.
No.
Okay, so he comes at him right here, and if you notice, he has something in his hand. He comes at the officer.
Hey, come back. Hey, watch out. Drop it.
And he ends up throwing it right here.
Drop it.
Look at his hand right there, Benny.
Yeah, it looks like a blade.
And it looks like it's a pair of scissors when I finally get the first time I saw it real clearly.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Right there on the ground under here at the under the word "drop it."
Yeah.
There's a pair of scissors on the highway. So.
Yeah. And that type of object can become really dangerous. And I want people. A lot of people will send me messages on LinkedIn after we do one of these and say, "Banning, what would have been your thoughts as that patrol officer on that call as soon as it goes down? What are your thoughts?" And it's hard to define that, but what I can think right now, we're obviously in a very crowded area. What Banning is thinking on this scene, if I were to have to do this, was how many kids are in the passenger seat of these cars going by right now seeing this, of what just unfolded. So my thing would be to get somebody's unit to block him as we render aid. There's no reason for anybody, not just children, but to have to see that if they don't have to. So I work on closing it off to where the general public doesn't have to see something after something. And that's just me trying to be. I always think if my kids are out there, what I'd want officers to do. And the last thing I'd want is my 10-year-old to roll past a scene like this and it be ingrained in her mind for the rest of her life on something an officer never wants to do, is to use deadly force. And that's what we just saw here. When he's not listening to verbal direction, officer presence, a uniform with a badge, multiple ones standing out there and them saying to stop, and he's still raising that thing up. He has no choice. You can't just holster your weapon and go hands-on when somebody has a sharp object in their pocket. There's some people that argue with me on that. Well, you're paid to save life, and yes, we absolutely are. But there's a time to go hands-on, and there's a time when you have no choice but to go to deadly force. And then you have the dynamic situation, the fluid moving traffic, which makes this so much more dangerous. And I hope you all can agree with that, to where when something's going on the highway, a driver is more than likely going to start looking over at that motion. And they're going to look towards that motion, and now they become a danger because they're not seeing what's happening in front of them, and you can cause a freaking fatal accident. So it's something that I try to think about on every call, is how can we clean this up and close it in to where less people are impacted for years to come.
So one of the things I think about, that's a tough spot as an officer to be in. I know one of the questions everybody immediately asks, why did he have to go to his gun, and why didn't he tase him, and why didn't he use pepper spray? But all the other uses of force continuum tell you, you always are, you want to go home at the end of the night. So you start with the gun. Now, third or fourth officer that gets there might have a taser out, but that escalated so quickly that you didn't have any option. But then as the officer, you're also worried about all this traffic in the background. And so some of the argument is, well, like you were saying, is, go to him, deal with it. It's only a knife, or it's only a pair of scissors. Well, some of the most, the biggest issues I've ever faced were stabbings, not gunshots, and so I think he did right. What's scary is all those cars moving behind him. What if he misses? And he has to account for every round. And so at the end of the day, he made a choice to come at the officers. I kind of think that there's a reason why he did it. Mentally ill would be probably the word I would use. Because who's going to go at three officers that are holding guns with a pair of scissors? It's kind of like the whole Crocodile Dundee, you call that a knife?
Well, and it's the whole too, I'm already getting messages, on LinkedIn. Hey man, couldn't you taser on a situation like that? Could you? That's like trying to buy a lottery ticket and hope that you get 100% compliance, and then you hope that the knife doesn't go directly into the gentleman holding it, and or to another officer that's standing adjacent.
Well, I want you to look at this picture right here. Okay, so we know when he jumped the fence, he had a jacket on. Now the jacket's halfway off. Okay, I personally have been in an incident. Deployed, the taser was deployed. I had my gun on the person. The other officer deployed the taser. And when a taser works, it's phenomenal if you know how to operate as the officer's responding. If you don't move in quickly enough, it's a waste of time. But so in this scenario, he's got that jacket in front of him, and then right when the shots happen, the jacket is up in front of him. That jacket's going to stop the penetration of the darts that come out. I don't care if it's a Taser 10 or a Taser X or whatever Taser it is. They have to make penetration. And so in the incident I was in, we had a great deployment, but we were in the middle of the winter and the subject's wearing a Carhartt jacket.
Right.
Fortunately, within 3 steps of where me and the other officer were, I was literally squeezing the trigger, Banning. I had made the decision, perfect backdrop. It felt like it took an hour to get to that situation. I'm pulling, it's that like intentional pulling of the trigger, made the decision, and all of a sudden the zap happens. And, there was a connection through, and he had moved just right within the Carhartt jacket, and it dropped him. And so then we were able to move in, and fortunately I was able to release my finger and it didn't happen. And so, it's one of those, I'm glad it happened the way it did, but it could have been a whole lot worse. So look at who's joining us now.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
And hey, do me a favor, Alan, and highlight Mama G's comment, third one down
Mama
from the
G.
top. I want to answer this because that's a dang good question. So Mama G asked, he is firing into traffic, capitalized into with question marks. And Mama G, great question. I want to explain the visual cue that y'all are seeing on the that's, I believe that's was that Axon that we're looking at? I think it looked like Axon.
It is Axon.
Okay. So Axon's,
and it's the body 3.
Yeah.
If you know the differences.
yeah, Axon is bringing much more into picture than what our two human eyes can see.
Yep.
When it's straight on. So this is something really big I want to explain to you. So when you're and minimize us and bring up that pause screen on YouTube for a second.
Yep.
So, and bear with me, Houston, because we're in the middle of this one.
You're good.
So if you can look to the right side, you can see the patrol car. You can look to the left. You can see that, I don't know, I'm just guessing 2007 Celica, white in color on there.
Right there you go. It's actually a Tesla.
Yeah. So if you look at this fisheye view right here, what the officer is probably seeing in his eyes, being from that distance, is the very left side bumper. He's probably not seeing the FedEx truck, and he's probably seeing the very right side of the Tesla out there in reference to vision. So what I want you to envision, Mama G, is this person is a lot closer to the officer than what it looks. And the type of drills, even, and I'm going to call them horribly trained departments go through, is close up encounter drills. And an officer, doesn't matter, deputy, trooper, police officer from an agency, they must be proficient in close quarters like that. So the first time every time I see traffic like this in the background, it makes my skin crawl, my stomach turn, my heart beat, friggin' temperature raises, and so does everything else, blood pressure. But how he addressed this, I think he did a good job with placing rounds where he wanted to place rounds. Again, I guarantee you this officer didn't wake up that morning or that evening and wanting to start off or finish off a day of using deadly force. Don't know where this call is going to go. We're about to hit play again, but I'm right there with you, Mama G, on that. But I want you to understand what I'm saying is that target is a lot bigger in front of him to where he's going to be rounds on range if he somewhat or half-assed knows what he's doing. So I have less of a threat of worrying that round going past that person, if that makes any sense.
Constitutional country girl. I hear what you're saying, but I have experienced enough times that I want to go home to my family. And unfortunately, I have to have the mentality that the suspect made a bad decision, and I'm going to go home to my family at the end of the night. Right. And I know the percentages with Taser are amazing, a lot better than you would think. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go home to my family. And so he had to make a tough decision here. I actually am wondering who made the shots. We hear some echoes in this, and audio of the body camera also picks up a lot of things that the naked ear is not going to hear because of auditory exclusion. So let's just play this out and kind of see, and then we'll talk about it at the end, man.
Okay.
Drop it. 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 I need to.
I'm fine without you.
I need to apply pressure.
No, it hurts, man. It hurts. Hey, I'm obviously awake after you shot me. I can breathe, man.
Paramedics on the way. What's your name?
I'm
It's 101 northbound at the Caesar Chavez home craft. Come up the wrong way.
I'm seeing it all.
You really can't say anything bad about that at the end because they jumped in instantly and gave care the way they should have. Man, they placed the pressure band-aid right where it needed to be. Yeah, it was the suspect complaining it hurt. Well, ask me how I know if a bullet hurts if it enters you. Yeah, absolutely, it's going to. But there's nothing to complain about there.
Mm-mm. No, and Mama G, and I hate that. I know some of y'all don't want to see stuff like what we just watched on there. Unfortunately, Alan, Houston, and I, and many of our audience have seen stuff like this in droves in our career, and it's not that you become numb to it; it's that you become actionable with what you see. Is the best way to describe it. Houston had a mirror effect and had it done to him point blank range and didn't lose consciousness until was medically put under for the surgery. Am I correct with that statement, Houston?
You are absolutely correct.
So for those of you that don't know Houston Gas, we've had him on here a few times. One of my best, closest friends. So we live like, I don't know, half mile to a mile from each other. So I'm too big of a guy.
Houston.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I'm too big of a guy to have Houston come sit next to me. I don't have a wide enough lens to get my fat ass and Houston sitting next to me. You might see one of his whiskers sticking out. It just doesn't work well.
So we're fundraising for a wide angle lens. Is that what we're fundraising for now, Bandy?
Man, I tell you, yeah, man, it's I think it'd be a tough. We pulled it off at that hotel that one time for a live. We were able to both kind of get in there on a laptop, but that was the worst camera. It was just a little laptop.
Until you decided to go to the bar, I remember that event.
Yes,
yes.
You got
all the viewers were assured us that you were at the bar.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, bullshit! He didn't lose signal." And the fact of the matter is I was having a great time that night, and I had plenty of my cold beverages in the room. We could have sat there all night and had a blast. But anyway, business development calls whenever the Wi-Fi signal goes down. So we had to freaking do that. Big and tall camera, absolutely. And I'm slimmer than I once was. I'm not back down to my fighting weight, I don't mean fighting as a patrol officer. I meant fighting for guns and hoses, etc. When I used to do that in law enforcement for a very short stint of my career. I'm a pretty good.
Big shout out to Papa Chuck. Months of listening, finally catching it live. What's happening, everyone?
Thanks.
Glad you're here.
Thank you. That's awesome.
So Houston, what's been going on in your world? Tell us a little bit.
And a whole lot of work and just hustling, trying to make a living and try to support many officers out there as we can, man.
I get that. I see your shirt. Tell me a little bit about what Code 3 has going on.
Oh man, we're busy out there, man. Hitting Texas hard and trying to make us life for first responders as easy as possible with our technology, and we do it better than everybody else.
I hear that. I actually was on site in Arizona last week. I spent a lot of time in Phoenix last week, and Code 3 got brought up, and so had a good conversation with lunch with a gentleman that lives kind of north. I don't even know the towns, but up in the mountain country of Arizona, and they were talking about how that was their first call was Code 3. So
I'm going to tell you, man,
shout out to those guys.
I'm really blessed to work with these guys, man. I work with four of some of the greatest people I think I've ever met, and Clay and Jim, my partners. They're both retired cops, and man, you just really can't ask for a better situation, man. I have to sit there and pinch myself and say, man, this is work.
Right.
After 26 years of law enforcement, man, it's kind of weird because going into that is so completely different. And then now all of a sudden I don't have the stress that I used to have. I kind of was getting paranoid there for a minute, like, because you know how it is at the police department, man. You could work 26 hours a day and it's still not enough. And, but man, I tell you what, the guys that I work with, man, I can't even tell you how blessed I am with them.
Yeah, I got to meet them both at the banning your event, the Law Enforcement Hall of Fame, and so they were nice enough to let me join the table, and so it was a pleasure to get to talk to those guys, and so I can definitely see how blessed you are. And so big shout out to the guys at Code 3, and Houston, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I always enjoyed being on here.
And Banning, you need to make sure that you didn't cancel your AOL. They may have canceled on you, though. Is what everybody. So when your internet's acting up, everybody's like, Banning didn't pay his AOL bill.
All jokes aside, man, I probably still have an AOL friggin' email. Now,
you know, it's so we were talking about. Remember the discs that you would get in the mail, and you'd get like you know 50 minutes free.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know, so as I'm going to say as a kid, I young, fresh in the Marine Corps, 18 years old, and then I started getting it at my Marine Corps barracks, and you don't make squat. Well, I haven't made squat my whole life in reference to. I mean, so those AOL things come in the mail, and I'm thinking, this is Banning's Marine Corps side thinking. I just saved up money to burn music on discs for a CDR, I think it was. And this is back in the, LimeWire, whatever those download. So what I did was, I scanned the disc as a CD onto the computer, and I bought those little drum stacks of recordables, and I scanned.
Hold on. Can we go back? Can charges still be filed for prior?
No. What I'm going to explain to you how
just
retarded.
Curious.
No, how retarded I am, and I mean that in a funny sense of jarhead Marine. People always have the jokes. So I got these recordable discs, and I'm like, hey, if I take one 30-minute AOL and I record it to the computer in a I think it was called a DAT file, and then record it to these discs, I can get like 5 hours for free. And I'm like, will that work? So as I'm on the hold with 1-800 customer service, because I'm not an AOL customer yet, and I'm burning off these copies onto these discs, not knowing even what copyright was, not knowing any of that. And of course the computer even knows, hey, doofus, you can't friggin' record that. That's that's just for AOL. So I had 2 or 3 recorded, and then I loaded and purchased the AOL, put it on the computer. Now you guys got to understand, this is back in 97, 98, somewhere in there. And it's dial up 56K. And
That's
took about
the 20th century.
3 hours. And then I started uploading. I uploaded the first AOL one, and then I tried to upload the second one, and it's like device not recognized. I'm like, I spent an hour my own time recording this. No, I was learning computers, man. And
I'm impressed that Banning Sweatland knows what a DAT file is.
Yeah.
Like, let's just take this back to the beginning of this conversation, and we're gonna put a star next to your name.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh.
So, but I didn't know what it was, and then I had a really smart officer. I was enlisted, an officer in the Marines that worked in our we call them nicely we call them pogues. We were the guys that went out and got business done on the infantry side, and these guys, and they were amazing at it. So I brought them to my barracks room. I'm like, hey man, how do I multiply this for this, because that's free, and I figure if I had more than one, it'd be more than one, crayon math, right? So anyway,
yeah, there's not going to be anything behind the scenes.
I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. So he's probably, if he's watching, is rolling his eyes and laughing, because we may have had a beer after the common sense discussion of, hey, moron, just pay for back then I think it was like $20 a month for unlimited access to AOL with a free email or whatever it was for military guy. Of course I paid for it and did it, but I thought, is it skirting? Is it not? And I didn't know, just a kid with a high school diploma, and they sent me one. I'm like, I got a recorder. I can make more than one. Well, even the computer stops you from doing that. So lessons learned, man. And then now I'm a big advocate, obviously, of I hate people that steal people's music. I hate people that do different things. And then I look back at my past and I'm like, I almost did that. I almost tried to get free AOL. And gosh, then you just think of the cash history of what I was looking up as an 18, 19-year-old in the Marine Corps, and you're watching the stuff come down. Seen it next. Seen it.
Well,
And you're looking up Camaros, you're looking up for whatever, and it's just how slow the internet was. And people that are watching know how much my internet sucks here. So they're probably like, so you still have AOL, right? And I'm like, something like that. But it'll eventually get better.
yeah, now the only thing that me and Banning get in the mail on a regular is AARP offers.
Man,
Hey, if it saves you any money, right?
Hey, man, I'll start taking those senior discounts any day of the week, man. 10%, 10%.
I've been getting AOL stuff since first month as a police officer, and I thought somebody had signed me up. And every month I was getting AARP offer this and that and this. And I finally opened it up and looked at it. I'm like, maybe my dad was alive back then, and he's a retired officer in the Air Force. And I called him and I'm like, Dad, what exactly is this AARP? And since he was retired, he's like, hey, Manning, you get discounts on towing to it helps you with home loans. I mean, it's a wide variety of what these retirement companies do for you. And so I signed up for like a $10 a month thing with them. And that just opened the floodgates from email to things being mailed. I used to get little koozies of AARP every month in the mail that I never paid for. They were just nice enough to send it out. So at one time, as a young police officer, I had what's called what do they call it? Table pong. We had a little party at the house.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, beer pong.
Beer pong.
And friggin', so I was drinking whatever beer at the time. And as I would hand somebody a beer that would come in, it had an AARP friggin' koozie on it. And they're finally, once some of these cops got some beers in them, they're like, hey, SOB, did you already retire from Halton? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, what's up with the AARP show? I was like, you think I'm going to buy that kind of stuff? This amazing company sends it to me, and now y'all have it. You're welcome. It keeps your beer cold, right? So
there you go.
Yeah. We all learn at different stages.
You remember those CD companies where you could you paid $2 a month and they just sent you
House,
CD.
I love them.
Columbia House. That's what I was trying to think of.
I still think
oh my!
4 or 5.
So I may or may not have copied those discs.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I didn't do the mail-in stuff. I did it for 1 month, and then I think it was my stepdad or my mom read it, and they're like, "Hey, if you don't purchase this, you got to send it back." I'm like, I've already.
What?
I mean, I at that time I was driving an '82 Monte Carlo. I had 4 Rockford Fosgate 12-inch kicker subs in the back. I'm such a moron that I used electrical fence to keep animals at bay. The bzz, I used that as my power to my amp that may or may not have caught in a car on fire. No, because I'm not damn sure not an electrician. The only thing I was good at back then, man, was decently tinting a window or maybe putting a head unit in a car. But you tried to get me to do electrical or something like that. I hope to God your insurance is caught up to date because I'm going to catch shit on fire because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So
did you just say something about getting head in a car?
No, head unit.
Hey, you got to remember, we're all cops here. Viewers, I'm sorry. This is what happens at briefing at the local sheriff's department.
Holy cow. I am a 46-year-old old man. I don't know what that terminology is not in my caliber.
Hey man, remember Alan, man, we were born in the late 20th century, man. That stuff is new to us. It's this generation that made all that vulgarity up. Okay?
The late 70s, I was born with bell bottoms, man. Come on. Oh man. All right, Alan, tell the world how old you are. I'm 46. I know Houston's 46. We're the same age.
I'm actually 45. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, you just
We're
have
all there.
The young glow with the donuts.
Yeah, everybody does. I can turn my light up and down. So,
right.
You could I can make my face disappear. I have these new fancy technology things that So next episode, I guess it'll be after we go to Atlanta. After I go to Atlanta next week, National Real Time Crime Center Association. If you're in the area, let us know. Maybe we can meet up. But several of us will be out there for that experience. And but after that,
Sure.
I have some artwork that's going to be displayed on the wall that my wife purchased. So, Banning, you're going to be widely jealous, and so she is. But the podcast studio is going great, and it's almost complete. So it's
Awesome.
exciting.
Outstanding, man. That's exciting news. And I was scheduled to go to the National Real Time Crime Center Association. Super excited about it, but obviously I'm going to do what's best for my employer, and it may be they may be sending me to TCOL, and that stands for Texas Commission on Law Enforcement and Education.
Is it their show, or is it just their monthly meeting?
It is. It's the show down in McAllen.
I couldn't remember if it was. Is that early? It seems like that's early because I thought their show was like October.
No, their dates are folding in line, and a little bluebird told me, I believe this is the last year they're going to have it in McAllen. I believe they're going to open it up and look at other spots in Texas.
Yeah, well,
too. And
I've
I
heard that as well. I did. So Real Time did their show originally this week, like 2-3 years ago, and then last year it was like a month ago, and when we did it in Scottsdale. And so they were able to push it back to this time frame because in 2 weeks, IACP is happening, and so it's like Denver's the 15th or somewhere in there.
Yeah, and I should be going to IACP as well because there's no Texas shows during that time.
Yeah, if you're not in law enforcement and you've never gotten to go and you want to see anything and everything walk of the sun in law enforcement, you need to go walk the floor at IACP. It is an experience.
It's the Super Bowl for law enforcement administrators, meaning that's chiefs, captains, commanders in that realm of law enforcement, especially at large agencies, get very busy throughout the year, and this is that one little week that they can go receive some education and go out there and maybe enjoy a nice meal, a Gatorade, whatever they drink, and see some technology coming into law enforcement. However, what's also really exciting me, man, is the National Real Time Crime Center Association and how that's growing. Obviously Erik has a heavy stint in that. You do, I do as well, just from people I know and also where I work. And I'm hoping my company decides to get a booth out there next year. I know this year they're going to go test the water, see how it is. And I think they're going to be impressed. And I want nothing but the best for my company in reference to where they're going to go out and get a lot of visibility. And I think that's a huge one.
So I've actually gotten to attend all three so far. There was a fourth one where it was more like a symposium, what they called it. The first year was a symposium. And then, so first year was in New Orleans, and then last year was in Scottsdale, and the next one will be in Atlanta. And I will tell you, I have spoken to multiple different, not agencies, but people that participate in these kind of events, different companies, and they are quit spending money in other places and putting their money into that basket because of what, like the first year when we were in New Orleans, I only worked for my company for shout out to RGB Spectrum. I have only at that point had worked for them for a week. And so they're like, hey, go and see and everybody that came in the booth, it didn't matter if it was people from New Orleans, which has had a real-time crime center since 2011, and then New York. But then you would have small agencies walk through, but every agency was like, yeah, it's time to remodel ours. It's time to remodel ours. And then all the small agencies are agencies that didn't have one were like, yeah, we're building a real-time crime center. And it was amazing. And now that, you continue, and I think it's the fastest growing thing in law enforcement right now. And everybody's doing it different, but they're all doing it similar.
Mhm.
And so I think if you're not on board with what's going on, or you don't know what's going on, you need to look it up. National Real-Time Crime Center Association. It's going to change law enforcement. Speaking of changing law enforcement, our sponsors, let's give a little shout out to those guys at Peregrine. Makes any officer great. And behind the scenes, it does some things. If you're not in law enforcement, you're not going to understand it. But reach out to us. We can get you involved with the right people. But Houston, can you tell us a little bit about Peregrine? Do you know anything about them?
Well, everything that I know, man, is it turns your average officer into Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
That is Eric's.
And,
Yep.
You know, the technology that they've got going on is just, it's mind blowing. The way, the way they can put stuff into their database and solve old murders and things like that, man. It's just there's nothing like it out there on the market right now, man, that allows an officer to do what Peregrine does.
Well, I think a lot of times, so I joined law enforcement. I was 27 when I got involved. So 2009, 2010. And everything I've heard since I started or in the inception was, oh, we're regionalizing. Everything we're doing is regionalizing. And that's a great idea. But every agency has different funding obligations and different wants and needs. And so they can't afford all the latest and greatest. And so no matter what technology you're using, Peregrine can come back in and we can link different agencies. So if we have a string of air conditioner thefts, it's going to tell all the regional law enforcement agencies, hey, so-and-so has a similar MO. So-and-so has, and it will make all those, it'll actually send an email to all the investigators and says, hey, you need to talk to each other because y'all have similar things going on. So why don't y'all get on the phone together? And maybe they have some fingerprints or DNA that you don't have, so you can solve the same crime.
Sure.
So, all right. Well, with that, let's see if we can't get another video playing.
Oh, sounds good. And while he's putting that video up there, if you guys are, meaning our viewers watching, if you're comfortable with it, you don't have to say the exact location of where you're at or maybe the area in the state. I'm curious to see how many different states we have involved watching this. It's always
it's an interesting question. I like that a lot.
Just, you can say Miami, Florida, or friggin' Tupelo, whatever, and just I'd love to see the different areas that everybody's watching, and it just fascinates me.
Thank you, Marine Blood, for everything you do behind the scenes to support the Discord channel and to support the show. It's really coming clutch and helping what we're doing here grow. If you haven't gotten a chance to go to the Discord and have some behind the scenes with us, please do that, because generally after the show we try to spend a little bit of time with everybody, and we do it on oddball nights too. So, all right, here we go. Biggie size, and away we go.
Milky Way.
Just a reminder that the first minute or so, body cameras and vehicle cameras don't have sound after you initiate them. Wow, that happened really fast.
Well, let's rewind that, man, because that was way too quick.
I'm gonna back that up and everybody pay attention.
He has his hands in his pocket. Hey, let me see your hand. Hey, let me see your hand.
So he had an object. I don't have microvision, obviously, if the officer that's outside of the car right there is going to be able to see that a lot closer. I'm assuming it was an object that looked like a gun. They gave the commands, had verbal presence, or they're there. They can see that they're officers. They're saying, "Let me see your hands." He's not complying. He gets in a stance and points towards him, and he immediately went to deadly force. Being in a parking lot there, obviously you've got structures behind you that are more than likely domiciles where people are living. Don't know what time of day this is. Don't know how busy that parking lot is. And it looks like he wanted to eliminate that threat real quick. Don't know what got the police there in the first place, but let's let this unfold after y'all give your opinions on it.
Yeah. So one thing I sped up to the next body camera. So police activity, big shout out to those guys. We almost exclusively use their content. We know that you guys are sharing camera video footage to the Discord. Tonight we're using all of police activity. So big shout out to those guys. Appreciate them for doing all the behind the scenes to make that stuff. We're not affiliated in any way, but we do appreciate them. So one thing I want to point out, this agency does it a little different. Every agency has the responsibility to dedact information before it goes to the public in certain ways. And in this one, they're blurring out the license plates. And one that I haven't seen before, officer actually has his cell phone in his hand. So watch this.
He has his hands in his pocket. Hey, let me see your hands. Hey, let me see your hands. Hey! Drop the gun. Drop the gun.
So, wow, this officer. So you may have missed it right at the very beginning. I'm gonna play it again.
Hey, let me see your hands.
Right there. He had his cell phone in his left hand. You can see it in the little picture right there.
Yeah.
And they actually went through and fuzzied out the officer's screen, which is good on them. But if you're responding to any kind of situation, put your cell phone in your pocket, not in your patrol car, in your pocket, because you may need it because your radio may not work.
Explain just and some of that you're seeing, because I get body cameras sent to me from around the globe, and that's a big question I ask. Why did the passenger officer have his phone in his hand? And fortunately, I get to see some body cameras that are not fuzzed out with a CJIS rating and whatnot. A lot of the times, these officers have what's called mobile CAD, and if the CAD's not working, meaning their little computer in their car, and they're logged in on their either their work phone or personal phone, because yes, they can do that because it's VPN blocked. It doesn't live on the device. I'm not going to go into the security, but it's absolutely okay while they're on duty to do that. And sometimes when they bring that phone up, it's the details, personal incidents, and they're reading it as they're pulling it up to the call. So it's not, the negative all the time of what people think of what an officer may be doing. Is it sometimes? I'm sure it is. I've seen some where I'm like, nope, that dude needs to be gone. That's a training issue, freaking gone. But I don't know this incident personally. It could be CAD on there. It could be something else. That's the back of his phone because I can see his camera. So it may be a picture of his family. It may be an emoji that the department didn't want to release because it's on his personal phone. It could be a myriad of things, but there's a reason that it's blocked, and if it's blocked, there's a good reason for it. Why do they block CAD? They don't want to give the general public any incident details, names, date of birth, actual location that they may be at. So there's a reason or legal reason for that redaction. Just to break that down.
Yeah, and they can actually lose their ability to log in to CAD, NCIC if they got caught giving out any of that information. So both of you guys have been in leadership in the higher level, but I know more importantly, all three of us have worked in these smaller agencies, and unfortunately, some of these smaller agencies don't have the resources that some of the larger agencies do. And I'll tell you, there's been multiple occasions where my phone was how the dispatcher was giving me further details.
Well, yeah. You get into these smaller agencies, and that little piece of equipment is huge for those guys because they don't really have anything better than that. There's still agencies out there that don't even have in-car computers.
Correct.
I know that's hard to believe that we're in 2025 and the technology in some of these places is that lacking. But there's a lot of these places that don't have the money that the bigger agencies have. There's not everybody is a Denver or New York or an LA, where they've got all this money and all this great technology that they can do that stuff with.
Yep. And the FBI, people, and not to step on you, Houston, the FBI has also come out with a report, I believe it was in February or March, just a public release. There's still over 1,000 agencies in the United States that don't have body camera or dash cams. 1,000. Because it's a huge budget item. And you have some of these municipalities across the United States that have hardly any tax bringings to let alone pay their officers or give them the tools that they need. And I think that's where big government, because taxes are obviously still being paid across the United States, needs to create a program that are a little bit more readily available to help these smaller agencies out and to get that, because it's not like it's a cool tool. Is it a cool tool? Yes, but it properly serves its purpose. I mean, everything that we do on this show is with agencies that have the ability to have body cam or dash cam, and that's a staple in their repertoire of tools that they need. But there's still over 1,000 agencies in the United States that don't have that. And it's very hard for retention for them to even keep officers for obvious reasons.
Well, so let me ask you this question, and I know the answer for me from the agencies I was at, but for you two, and I know you guys were both higher up at one point, so give me a breakdown of what your general fund was for your department.
I'm sorry, what? You broke up.
Like, what was your general fund budget for your agency, for your department, for a year?
So the agency that I was in charge of, my operating budget for the entire year for myself and 6 officers was about $660,000. Whenever you and the majority of that was going to your salaries, okay, that was going to pay your employees. You figure, okay, 660,000 sounds like a lot of money, but whenever you're paying 6 people, that's not. Then you've got your vehicle maintenance budget. Then you've got training budget. You've got your uniform budget, and there's very little left for a whole lot of extra stuff. I know at the agency that I was at, we really had to rely on grant writing to get the money that we needed to purchase certain pieces of equipment. Body cams was one of them. We didn't have body cams whenever I took over there, and in 2017, whenever I took over, it was we're in that weird time, man. We're just right after Ferguson, and everybody's still coming up and saying a lot of different things, and what I want these agencies to understand, man, if you don't have the money, find you a place to get the grant money to do it, because it's for your officers' well-being these days, man, because it serves to clear more officers than it does to hurt.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Those officers, man, that get hurt by these things, man, by the videos that are seen, 99 times out of 100, it was their own doing, okay? But out of all the officers that I ever had complaints on and had to actually do internal affairs investigations, man, it's such an invaluable tool. It's going to prove if your officer is actually innocent of an action or guilty of an action, and there's really nothing in between there. And and the golden thing about the body cam is on these things, the officer can't lie because the camera tells the whole story.
Yep.
And and for those departments out there that struggle with that money and everything, I get it. I understand. I know what it's like to be in that small department and struggle, because literally had to pull rabbits out of a hat to make things work and stuff, but and it's literally a miracle that these departments can actually get through a year on the money that they're given. But
One of the things that like rings home to me when you're saying that is I worked for an agency that we had a city manager that was a financial guru. Okay. And he knew, the behind the scenes of money, but he wouldn't accept grants because there's a lot of loopholes in those grants that you have to, the city has to pay for up front. And he was burned a couple times where they didn't honor their side of it because there was one little hiccup here and there. And so, in that $600,000, you're also talking about the part of the salary that covers insurance and the part of the salary that covers, health insurance, health benefits, and, all the taxes and all that kind of stuff. But then you also have, what people don't realize is you may have an officer that makes $39,000 a year, let's say, in a small agency. And then you almost have to double or triple that that's what's coming out of the general fund or the budget for an agency. So what, $120,000 per officer, but most of the time it's closer to, $150,000 per officer. So times 6, you're eating that budget up really quick. And then you have all these agreements with different agencies, or not agencies, but companies like your CADs and your things like that. And that eats up the budget. Before you know it, there's no budget left. And so you're expected to do all this crime fighting. And then all of a sudden you send some DNA out to have it worked up. And then you get a bill back for $30,000 and you don't have it in the budget to cover it. And so then you got to start jumping through hoops to figure out how you're going to pay to solve this crime that just happened in your city. And people think, oh, just send it to the crime lab. There's a whole lot more that goes to it when you're at the top, and you got to figure out, I want to hire another officer, but guess what? I just ate up his pay because I had 3 sexual assaults this month. And now I got to pay those bills.
Yeah, and it's a sad day, man, that we have to worry about those things, man. Whenever there's such a high public expectation of every police department in the United States, the expectations are really far and away more than what most agencies can handle. Especially, if you're in a small town.
Yeah. Well, let's finish this video out. I just, that's one thing that's been weighing on me from the small department agency side of things. And it kind of got brought up here. I couldn't have lived without having a cell phone, and my agency paid me $30 a month for my cell phone. And we all know a cell phone fee is way more than $30 a month. So I had to carry my personal cell phone. Here we go.
See your hand. Hey, drop the gun. Drop the gun. Yeah, we got shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Keep your hands out. Hey, keep your hands up. Don't reach. Hands up. Don't reach. Stop. Don't reach. Stop. Hands up. Do not. Whatever that was guns by the back left tire. Yeah, I'm good. Hands in his pocket. Hey, let me see your hand. Hey, let me see your hand. Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Yeah, we got shots fired. Hey, keep your hands up. Hands up. Stop reaching. Stop reaching. Hands up. Stop reaching. Hey, whatever that looks like guns by the back left tire. You guys good? Are you good? Yeah, I'm good.
Great communication.
Keep your hands up.
Ooh, ooh.
A little bit
Ooh.
of flagging, but that's
But in that
okay.
situation, he moved forward to be with so he could get guns on target. I don't know where he came from. He was behind the scenes, but I like that he moved forward to get another gun in the fight if they needed to continue that. So that was, in my opinion, great.
Yep.
Well, what I like about videos like this is it allows people to see how fast things change, how quickly, how fluid your situations are, your scenes are, and how fast you can go from 0 to 100. And it's generally faster than a Mustang doing 0 to 60. I promise you.
Eric says this all the time, and in this situation, I completely agree. I completely agree that only one guy gives commands, but it's also ingrained in all of us to, you know, hands up, drop your gun. So we're all saying it, we're all yelling it, and at one point in time, to kind of stop the OODA loop, somebody's going to have to yell and say, "Hey, I'm giving commands." But in this scenario, I mean, they're pulling up on site. Everything, like, it happened so quickly. I don't think it mattered who's saying put their hands up. It's not like, because when he came out of the video, there's some talk about, did he shoot too soon? In earlier, Mama G said something. There's some others that had made comments that kind of watched it before us. And from what we saw in the video, I'm not saying he had anything in his hands or he didn't have anything in his hands, but if they felt like there was something in his hands, to this point, with all the information I have, I feel like they were making the best call that they had at the moment.
Well, just the stance that he took whenever he was coming out of the car is indicative of somebody that has a gun.
Yeah. And you can say that because
I've been there, done that.
Exactly.
And I've seen exactly the way most people handle guns. And heck, even whenever we're at the range, I mean, we're holding that gun just a certain way. And our training and experience says that that guy's got a gun. And obviously they saw something in his hands. I don't know what they saw, but they saw something in his hands that made them believe that that was a gun.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't like about the body camera. You activate it as soon as the call. I activate mine as soon as the call comes out, and so when I hit my chest, people double tap it. On the Axon body camera, you double tap it and it goes live. Okay, and so that's why you'll see me when I even talk about it. I reach up and hit my chest. But the thing about when you're in the patrol car, the dash isn't right in front of you, and so it doesn't see what you're seeing. And so I wish there was like an attachment that saw out the windshield, and so you got out of the vehicle and it like switched, because technology is cool. But I guess if you're really spending a lot of money with Axon, you've also got their in-car camera as well, and so you're going to get all three angles. Our company had a different company's in-car, and then we used Axon's body camera. And so, and then when I went over to the school, we only used the body camera because we were only in schools. We didn't have anything in our vehicles. So, but it does create a challenge when you, like, for me, I didn't have an in-car, and so half the time you're responding to a incident, you're only getting the view of the dash as you're responding. And so
sure,
but it's interesting because everybody has a take and a different experience. So with that, Benny, you got anything there that I didn't clear up?
No, that's again, these officers were sent to a call. I have no clue what. I just read it too. throw it up there.
Hey! Oh, I haven't had enough to
Here we
drink yet.
go.
Sorry. I don't know if you've
I
had
don't know
this,
if the rating is
but
ready.
Ooh,
yes.
that looks tasty.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's
I'm gonna have to get some of that. I hadn't had that yet. I want.
experience.
So if you had young eyes, what did that can see? Because I couldn't focus
Crown
on it.
Royal Washington apple.
I usually Houston and I travel a lot together for our companies, and half the time we'll be sitting in a restaurant, and he'll see me struggling with a menu, and he'll take his glasses,
And you shared them.
I mean, I'm like, are we at that age now? It's like we look like an old couple sitting there, and I'm using his glasses to look at the menu, and
So
yes, I'll take the hamburger and whatever. And
So when last week was, I've really had amazing vision my whole life. Okay, and last week I caught myself on my phone using the camera to zoom in on something and go, "Oh yeah, that's what it really does say." And I'm like, "Oh god, here you go."
Every day I do that. They I don't know what they think what I'm doing. I've got my phone, hovered over the menu. I take a picture and I can zoom that in, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I can look at it. And yeah, and this whole needing whatever readers, at close range, happened like overnight. I literally woke up one day and grabbed something that I would typically read, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, why is it blurry? And you're holding it there, and you're like, what the hell is this so blurry for? And then I'm like, well, maybe it's just I didn't get enough sleep, or the law enforcement day the day before was too long, and then I finally ignored it enough. So now when I go to Walgreens or CVS or whatever pharmacy, I'm usually getting whatever I need for my family in there, and I may get a new pair of readers. And 20 years ago, if you would have thought I get excited about a new pair of readers,
the shit we get excited over when we're old, man. And
man.
you think yours is bad, man. These are bifocals, dude.
Right. Oh, so you got the top level and the bottom level.
And if I didn't have that bottom level, man, I literally could not read a lot of business cards that I get.
Right.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, heck yeah. And I think Alan just stepped away for a moment. When he comes back, we're going to get another video queued up there. I know I think we're planning to go for at least 2 hours tonight. We're already at an hour and 32 minutes going live. And I appreciate those of y'all that put the cities and states that you're in. It was really neat to see that. I was able to go through those comments, and appreciate y'all doing that. It's neat to see that it's not just Houston, Alan, and myself watching ourselves, because that'd be a boring party right there. But for those of you that tuned in tonight, we appreciate it. Again, we're sorry that Erik's out tonight. This is Erik's bread and butter, so he would do anything to be here. So if he's not here, he's got something important to do, and I know he'll probably be back next week, as long as that NRTCCA doesn't eat up his time on Monday.
I know,
I'm trying to remember the dates.
Nina said something interesting just a little bit ago. She said that's why I like the thought of the buddy system, like the U.S. Marine Corps taught me.
Yeah,
buddy system is the safest way to go in life. Well, hey, you know what, Nina? I agree with you. I'm going to say chances are, man, in this particular scenario right there, that this officer, since he had somebody in his passenger seat, there's probably a good chance that he was actually on FTO. In field training, or at least that's the way it would be in the agency that me and Banning worked for. If we had two people in the cars, because we were training somebody, and the majority of the time, especially in these smaller agencies, man, we end up rolling up on these types of calls by ourselves, and and that can be kind of a scary ordeal whenever you're sitting there having to go to something where there's possibly weapons involved. You don't know exactly what's going on, and you're the Lone Ranger. Me and Banning have done that for the last few years with the agency that we worked for, and thank God, man, that he had his angels surrounding us enough to keep us safe. But I'll tell you, uh, the majority of officers out there in the world are probably not going to roll up on that call with two officers with the luxury of having a second officer in the car.
I mean, Houston, I can recall, and I know you can too. But how many times did we get behind a stolen vehicle and we don't have backup for an hour? If the city didn't have somebody on, or and I say the city, Houston and I, for the last agencies that we worked together on, happened to be a county deputy sheriff situation. Yeah. So I would be on duty during the night, and vice versa, Houston during the day. But Houston would, and Houston, let me tell you, has got so much experience. He would never call me for advice. He'd call me and tell me how he took care of something in the light of not having backup. Or he would call me and say, "Hey, dude, if you're freaking close to the house, gear up and come out because this is what I got." And with my job of what I currently did, or what I previously did at that agency, I was the mid-level, patrol supervisor, to where I was responsible for everything the knuckleheads did on the street. Houston was not a knucklehead. It's not what I'm saying. But anything that they did, I was responsible to make sure that they – yeah. But he'd call, and I'm going to tell you, Houston could call me and just to give you an example, I'm not saying this call happened, and be like, "Hey, I'm on a call. I can see through the binos. He's got an assault rifle. You want to come, or how do you want to maybe get dispatched to send somebody?" In that calm terminology coming across, because Houston can handle himself in any situation. So of course I'm like, standby, driving to the house, 5 off. Let me get dressed out. And when I say dressed out, I'm going to throw on a pair of country western boots, my duty belt, a vest, something that identifies who I am. I'm going to get in my take-home car. I'm going to run what's called Code 3, lights and sirens, to the location where he's at after what he articulated to me. And I may be 40 minutes out. I can usually cut that time up pretty quick, depending on traffic, carefully, but get to where he's at, because it's a serious situation. And that happened a lot in our, and I'm going to call it a short career, because we both did it for a long time. But for the 5-6 years that we worked together, that happened more times than not. I don't know how many times we sat on houses to where you're waiting on SWAT or a special team to come out, or priority one situation where it's just you for the first several hours, and you're dealing with multiple people. And that's just how it is in rural America. It wasn't that Houston was a badass or I was a badass. That is all those people that work in law enforcement in the rural areas. So anytime you see them in your coffee shop, or grabbing a pack of cigarettes or dip at the local gas station, and they may not smile or wave, that is nothing personal. They may have just had their ass rocked by call to call to call to call to call, or they're just an asshole and they didn't wave. But I'm just speaking for the ones that I knew. Obviously, if they're having a decent day to where they can deal with, they're going to wave to you, and they'd probably buy you a cup of coffee. They don't want anything handed to them. But rural life and policing, and Alan knows it as well, is a different potato than working in a large agency. I got to work in a medium-sized agency down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it was a lot different. If I yelled for help or needed assistance on the radio, I could make it rain police, usually in less than a minute to 2 minutes tops, and have 10 or 15 cops on the street, including adjoining agencies there that were also listening to that radio channel, and they didn't need dispatch to send them. They would just come. And then when I got out here, and I'm going to use this lightly, but it's the damn truth, I could be literally wrestling with a bull on a state highway and grabbing horns and pushing and trying to get this off so an 18 doesn't hit. And I'm calling for friggin' backup to deal with a bull, a non-human friggin' deal. And then Houston would come out, and we would have to get creative, because at that time we were both newly deputy sheriffs, and our FTO program was kind of non-existent.
You didn't know how to pull the red flag out and get them to ole ole. Dude, oh, come on!
Even a year, I'm going to tell you, Alan. Even a year into it, dealing with a bull, probably a bull or cow or heifer, whatever you want to call it, 6 or 7 times a week, because I'm always used to dealing with people. it'd be amazing to watch these true cowboys come out that would either in passing would see you, or they happen to be at their ranch across the street, and you see them come over on a horse, and they got a freaking lasso, and they're like, "Officer, deputy, you need help, man. If I'll use a little posse comitatus right now if you want to come over here and give me a hand with this bull." And to watch somebody friggin' lasso something and pull or use their farm truck to gently remind the bull to go in that direction to get him off the street so we don't have a friggin' fatality accident. That's the community coming together to help you as a law enforcement officer. And it was awesome, man. Different lineup.
Rural town America, deputy sheriff, that's probably the number one call is chasing a horse or a cow that, the grass was greener on the other side of the hot wire fence. And, man, when that call comes out, you just, both of you, like you'll be at lunch and you're just sitting and you finally got to have a lunch, and it never fails. That call's coming in and you're like, you look at each other and you're like, really? Like,
I'm gonna tell you, I had a family member, and I'm gonna let Houston go. I had a family member come eat with me, and I'm gonna call it our nice restaurant in town, the steakhouse. Okay? So a family member came to eat, and they're sitting with me, and I'm on duty, and I said, "Hey, I can maybe get a break from this time to this time," and yeah, I probably was wrestling my shadow. And so we're sitting down and we're eating whatever meal, and I've got my radio pulled off my vest on the table. And what was really cool was he was giving me, man, your job's pretty important. He's not the type for law enforcement, and tell me your type of calls you go to. And I just kind of went down the theft to whatever type of call a rural cop gets. And to look in that face of, man, that's pretty important. And then I didn't realize how loud my radio was. And I can't even remember what my call sign was for the county, but the dispatcher came on and they're like, "Unit for me, hey, be advised, we have a cow in the middle of the highway at 2210 and 199 that's not yielding for traffic." And it's like, I'm looking at my cousin, I'm like, "Yeah, my job's pretty important." I'm putting my radio back in my vest, and I paid for my side of the tab. And just the look on his face, he's like, "Are you serious? You got to go deal with a cow?" And I'm like, "Man, it's not just what you see on cops. It's not what you see on live PD. But yeah, I'm about to go wrestle a friggin' cow."
I will say this.
See ya.
10 out of 10 recommend dealing with a cow as opposed to a homicide or an assault.
Every day.
All day long.
Yeah.
Or a drunk
Absolutely.
domestic. Not just a domestic, a drunk domestic. Like,
those are the funnest though, man.
Yes.
they are fun. Don't get me wrong, but like, if you're by yourself, I would rather deal with the cow than like if I have backup. The drunk domestic I'm fine with, but if I'm by myself, like I'm gonna go fight with the cow over the drunk domestic. Like a domestic is a domestic, that's what we get paid for, but I'd much rather, and it's usually not like the suspect. It's usually the other side of it that is the one that's harder to deal with. The suspect generally, I generally have a banning follow up with me. In my agency, there was always a guy that looked like Banning. Or Houston. And so when you're 5'10" and 190 pounds, they just laugh at you. And so when you have Banning gets out of the car real slowly, they just get in my car. It's like, here, I'll jump in.
Well, there's a video that I hope, I guess, never surfaces, and I know I'm opening myself up, and it's not a criminal event by any stretch. I got called for livestock, and I was working on one of my days off because that's the story of a rural enforcement officer's life. Someone's, Deputy Smuckatelli called in today. "We need you to work days." And I'd be like, "But I just worked night. We need you to work days." Roger. So I go out there and I'm working days. And I think it was the first call. I remember it being sunrise because I made a LinkedIn post after this, but I didn't really allude to the fact of what went on. And it was one of our back, we call them farm to market roads here in Jack County. And they're like, "Hey, possibly a horse or four-legged critter keeps walking up on the roadway, and that's a typical call you're going to get in between the mayhem of pursuits or crimes against persons and theft of property, etc. So I'm running out there. These calls can be, if an 18-wheeler comes up and over a hill and hits a horse or hits a cow, it's a bad scene. It can kill the 18-wheeler driver. At the very least, it can drift that truck into oncoming traffic, or even if a small car hits it, sometimes the cow or horse can walk away and eject the people out of the car if they're not properly seat belted. So they can get dangerous really fast. All joking aside, but I get out there, and this is I'm not a horse expert. One of my father's girlfriends in the past had raised quarter horses for a living. So I know quarter horses. I know the English saddles. I know how to ride as a basic. I'm no Rip whatever off of friggin' Yellowstone. I can ride a horse, but I'm not an expert. Anyway, I get there, and this horse is super tame, but does not want to get out of the southbound lanes. And this is on a highway called FM4 in Jack County, and it's a windy 60 to 65 mile an hour road, and people probably are running 75 to 80 on it that know the area, so they're going to come up on you really quick. So you have to get out, deal with business, get it off the highway. So this horse, and I carried what I call a long lead in the back, meaning canine. I had a 20-foot leash that was always folded up in the back of my patrol car to use for something like this. So I put the lead around the horse, and I'm petting on the horse, and it was beautiful black. It reminded me of that movie from the 80s. What was that? Black whatever, the beautiful horse. And I'm trying to lead this horse. Yeah, I'm trying to lead this horse off the road, and I'm pulling on this thing, and the horse is looking at me like, I ain't moving. So I left the lead on the horse. I go back in my little tiny, I called it the Ford Exploder before I got my new Tahoe, and I pull, and it was a slick top, so I just had the lights in the windows. So I pulled up closer. I got up with about 2 or 3 feet from this horse, put it in park, and I didn't even have a push bumper on that car because it was a supervisor's car. So I'm standing on the bumper, and I felt bad for the car, and I've got the lead on it, and forgetting that my dash cam is also rolling. We're on a call, so my body cam's rolling, my dash cam is rolling, and I'm like, you know what? This horse just needs a reminder that a human is in charge, and he's going to get him off the road. So I decided to bareback this horse, get up on it. And I don't know if the horse has never been ridden or if it's never been broken in, but I went for about the 3 worst seconds of my life that was all caught on dash cam. And
so I'm telling you, everybody, right now, if we can find this video, I will give $5 to whoever can make it, or I'll buy you a steak. A banning steak.
I'm going to tell you that video. I followed it for damn near 3 years, and it's off the server. But yeah, because obviously there were no complaints on it. But it's when I got thrown from this horse, it wasn't pretty. I want you to picture, a fat guy sitting on top of a fence that just falls off, and it's not very graceful. But he, when I went back and watched the video, I'm like, man, I got lucky because I got launched up and backwards, came right back down on my back, knocked the air completely out of me. Thank God it was in the grass. I was off the highway, and it didn't knock me out or anything like that. No medical emergency, but it just kind of hits you in the feelers like, God, that is horrible. And, you breathe, you gasp for air. And I didn't have one car pass me. This was like early Sunday morning. And then a station wagon pulls up. Okay, I'm sitting there.
Read Country Girls.
Okay.
The poor horse. Hope it was a Clydesdale.
So anyway, I'm sitting there collecting my air, and I finally roll over to the side. And anybody who wears a duty belt that knows what it feels like to roll over on your gun side. It's like, oh, that hurts. And I roll up and I kind of do a push up, and the station wagon kind of comes to a stop. Passenger window comes down, and I knew the people. And they're like, Banning, are you okay? And I'm like, well, the horse bucked me. And I turn around, and the horse had already jumped the fence back into where he belongs. And I look over the horse, and he's just kind of looking at me like, I ain't floating your side of the story, dude. So, and then she looked at me and she's like, do you need us to call somebody? I'm like, I'm okay, because I can only imagine what they're looking at. They're looking at me laying in this, and it was the time, what are the blue bonnets? I'm surrounded. It looks like I'm doing like a photo shoot in blue bonnets, and there's nobody around. And anyway, it was an experience. I got back up. I cleared the call with no report. Horse removed from roadway, and went home, dusted off, and went back out and finished like 10 more hours of my patrol shift.
You didn't get out of the driver's seat the rest of the night. You were like,
oh hell no!
It hurt like hell. I don't even think I told my wife about that, because it was so shaming. I thought I would take control of that situation. It took control of me real quick.
The deputy down on Interstate 45 getting a herd of cows off the road after a wreck, getting it off, and he's galloping down the road and talking to one of his buddies and slams into a speed limit sign. And damn near kills himself and beheads himself almost completely. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but God, dude, you'll watch that and you will pinch yourself because you're laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh. So while we're on story time, and then guys, I'll cut the boring stuff and we'll go back to the action.
This is priceless. Well, we just need the video to go with it.
Dude,
so I'm now seeing some of these comments over there, and good Lord, I'm slow trying to read those to tell my story. So
the horse lived its days telling his buddies, "You won't believe this shit."
I'm gonna go buy some Elmer's glue after this. Damn it!
What kind of Texan can't ride a horse? Oh shit! Oh.
So anyway, let me get back to when my FTO program, coming from as a seasoned law enforcement veteran from the municipalities. Anyway, I decided to go the deputy sheriff route, and I had some years. I'm definitely not an expert in anything, but I had some years behind me. And I really didn't have an FTO program. I was hired as the midline supervisor for the sheriff's office. And but I reached out and I asked some questions, because I used to listen to those guys. Talk about on the radio when they were dealing with critters on the roadway. And I'm like, I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing, especially if I'm going to be the supervisor out here. So I got with a mutual friend of Houston and I that was in CID at the time, and he did a long stint in the jail before that. But so I got with him. He was kind of the go-to guy, because he was always at the sheriff's office. He was the CID guy. He's working on cases, always there, and he'd always be good for a cup of coffee and a good story. But I said, hey, man, what's your advice on if I deal with this? Because if I don't know how to go hands-on with something, or, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So he got in a real serious mode, and he basically stood up from his desk. He took his cowboy hat off, and he's got it hanging next to him. And he said, Banning, when you go out there and you deal with these horses and you go out and deal with these big bulls that we have here in Jack County, I want you to remember something. You get out of your car, and you want to appear bigger than the animal, and you want to come up to its field of vision, and you want to take that cowboy hat off and hold it to the side. And you just say, now get, and you want to wave your hands in a real rushing motion at these bulls, and they're going to listen to you. They're going to get off that roadway, and you're going to be able to clear that call and go to the next. And man, I thought, I've got a new tool for the tool belt. I got a brand new cowboy hat. I go out there on patrol, and my little self is going down the roads, and my first bull call came out over in the city area of Perrin. I think it's 1191. It's a farm road over there, and bull in the roadway. And I'm like, I just went through the training. Nobody better for the job. I'm by myself. I get sent over there, and I'm turning on all my lights, activating my recording stuff, and this was a big SOB. I don't know the size of bulls, but it was damn near as long as my Explorer. It had a big engraving on the side hip, and I found out later this was a prize bull. that had got out of his enclosure. And so I got out and I took my big cowboy hat off, and I did exactly as I was instructed, man. And I'm waving at this thing and, hey, yeah. This bull, and then this was a part of the instruction. He came back and said, if the bull puts his head down and snorts, he likes you and he's about to comply. So this city boy at the time got that compliance really quick from that bull. He looked up at little old me and decided it's time to teach Banning a lesson. He put his head down, snorted. The hoof started moving dirt, and I'm like, he's about to get off the roadway because, that front hoof was he was already almost off. And I'm like, about to get my job done. I even kind of looked back at the camera and smiled. And by the time I came back, this bull was coming at me full force. So there's another video of me running up the hood of a Ford Exploder all the way to the top where there should be a light bar, and there may be some small dents on that car. It's been auctioned since now because it doesn't handle 300 pounds running up the hood very well. But I may have stood on the top of that car for 2 to 3 minutes till that bull got it out of aggression of hitting the car. And then I got down and actually I reached my wingspan out and I grabbed the driver's door and passenger door and held on as this bull was hitting the front of the car. Now, once I got the bull off the roadway and back in an enclosure and the public is now safe, I called said person NCID and I said, "You son of a bitch." And he goes, and he just, smoker, and he got to laughing so hard. He got to laughing so hard that I had to go by the SO to check his welfare because I thought he was going to die from laughing so damn hard. So we live and we learn. I don't pass that type of advice on now to new deputies. And if you're a new one on your getting ready to start your shift, don't do what I just said to do because you may get put in the hospital. My car probably should have been put in the hospital and had a good checkup after that, but thank God it still rolled. That car had about 200,000 miles on it. I think I handed it off to Houston after I was done with it and got my Tahoe. He had to drive that jalopy for a while.
Thank you, Pat.
But yeah, it was yeah, I think you did, man. Because I moved it from one spot to the other one day before we went and stripped it out for auction, and that thing was on its last leg, man, knocking and I can't believe that car lasted for over 200,000 miles. I mean, it was. And I think it came from Houston PD auction years before we got it. So,
some of these agencies would not know what to do with the hand-me-downs that we use at these small agencies. Like, we're stealing transmissions out of the unit we're about to auction off, and oh my gosh,
stealing tires, stealing rims, stealing whatever we can get.
Yep. Oh my gosh,
yep.
Jesus, man.
And if somebody else could let me know about my timing, apparently somebody on LinkedIn is saying that my voice is lagging. Are y'all seeing that?
It was just a little bit, and it's come back. So I think it's in and out.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I'm not seeing it that bad. So
good deal. As long as it's understandable.
It could be my internet. I don't know, but. So we had I was still on FTO. I've dealt with a lot of animals and things like that. I did rodeos, I rode bulls, I did all that kind of stuff. I was young and dumb and thought I was invincible. But get on patrol, and my neighbor, I lived in the small agency I worked for, you have to live within 10-minute response time. So I bought a travel trailer, and I'm going to live. And so I was across the street from these guys, and they had a full-grown pig, and it got out one day. So me and my sergeant show up, and we've got to catch this wild, crazy, full-grown pig. And they're feeding him out for the great feast of 2010. Right. Oh my gosh, if you would have seen us trying to catch this pig. And so at one point the decision was made, we're going to lasso it. We're going to pick him up by the back legs and wheelbarrow him back into his stall. So the pig was chasing a pig. for 2 or 3 hours. I have rope burns from the lasso. You are not going to corral a pig that doesn't want to go back into the fence until you just show him the food.
Bacon.
Yeah. The bacon won that battle. And so 2 weeks later,
Right,
we were
right.
eating the bacon.
Oh yeah.
But there was no body
no
camera,
doubt.
no FOIAs required. That was previous to what were the old cassette size, the 8mm cassette that you put in your dash cam. That's all there would have been. And I know where the cassette tape is for that one. So you're not going to ever find it. It may or may not be in my possession.
Right.
So, but I don't have anything that'll play it, so I'm not going to go and buy a.
I'm looking at these comments, man. And Constitutional County Girl News said that, Alan, are you talking about full-grown 50-pound or full-grown 400
pound? Like we've fed him out, ready to eat, like next week kind of party.
And hey, guys, I'm going to go out and come back in to see if that fixes some of my video because I'm getting some texts too.
Yeah, pigs are really no joke whenever it comes to that. We had a pig at the last agency before I retired that got out on the road. It was a pig that was actually raised in town. It was somebody's prize show pig. And he got out on the road and destroyed a 3/4 ton pickup.
Oh yeah.
So that is kind of one of the reasons why we get out there and we wrangle these animals, man, because not only did it destroy the pickup, but it sent the driver to and it's can be pretty gnarly.
Well, you know, I heard and I don't know how true this is, but I heard, you know, on I-10, but where not New Braunfels, where did all the flooding happen? The Lano, Kerrville. I heard that highway actually has a deer and a motorcycle, death every year because there's so many deer coming across that roadway. You know, people don't realize, you know, when we talk about hunters and there's a lot of people against hunting and things like that, but imagine if we didn't have hunters in Texas and
the overpopulation, which is
overpopulation. People don't understand how, until I was older, how much those things bred. I've seen herds of 100 of them running together. And it's just unbelievable if we didn't have hunters, what that population would look like. Even pigs and deer. And like, we're not even talking about the cows and stuff now. Like, I can only imagine the accidents. Like, I live in a county, Terry County is the county I live in, south west of Lubbock. And we don't have a mule deer season or but now we have for 15 years, we haven't had one. And now we have a 1-day season for mule deer.
Right.
And, you know, I can see one once a month killed on the side of the road. It's unbelievable.
You know, that's why I encourage folks whenever you're on these unfamiliar roads in these really backwoods, small town areas. Dude, especially if it's night, do not drive fast.
Rude.
You know, we had a deputy at the agency that we worked for. Man, was going code 3 to a call and smoked a deer that smoked his car. And I mean, like he put the engine inside the cab of the car. He hit that thing so freaking hard, man.
I can laugh, Houston, because of course I get the call. Hey, you need to go out to Deputy Schmuckatelli that smoked a deer on 114 or whatever.
That's awesome.
And friggin' and I obviously I did the schedule. I knew who was working, so I'm calling, of course, first.
Yeah,
Are you okay? And he's like, I'm okay. I'm just a little mentally shattered at not being able to. First of all, let me kind of put the premise down. He's running code 3 to a family violence call. Driving, I've already reviewed the body camera and everything. He's driving actually very safe for the condition he was in. He was 7 miles an hour over the speed limit, which was a posted 75. Not in a turn, straight away. He's in the passing lane to be able to give way if needed. And this friggin' deer, just like anybody that hits a deer, kind of came out of nowhere, and he struck it. The obscenities from the time of the strike till the call came to a stop reminded me of Eddie Murphy Raw in 1984 or whenever that came out. When I'm reviewing this, I may have made a funny clip for the deputy and I to share with some repeats on there. And that's just, when you go through something traumatic and nobody's hurt and you just have some property damage, that the insurance will have to take care of, even in a self-insured agency. Thank God nobody was hurt on that. And I was able to get out on scene, provide scene security, and go get him checked out by, I forced him to go to a hospital just to make sure he's good. That was a very hard impact. Deployed all airbags, brought the car to a halt really quick because it dropped the engine carriage to the ground. And just like Houston said, up into the actual, let's just say the MDT stopped prior to crushing his head. So he got really lucky on that. But you have to look back on stuff like that and laugh. He's going to help people. Now, the biggest question people have is, well, do those people get help? Yes, we got folks there to diffuse the situation. Thank God that night we actually had a lot of people available and got that done. But if you were to sit there and look at the damage to the car, you would think to yourself, there's obviously an injury in this. And there wasn't. So, and I don't Bible thump people to death or anything like that, but a higher power kept that deputy safe that night. And I'm very blessed to say that. There's been a lot that I've seen just in the past 6 years out here in BFE. I'm sorry, Jack County, also known as that because there's not many resources out here. I have seen a lot of things that could have gone super south that have been kept in check. That was not human derived, if that makes sense. That you're just very thankful for what you've seen in the aftermath of it. Now, there's also been some calls here, and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, how did that happen? There wasn't much damage, when you're responding to a call or something, and some things are really bad. You can't equate it in your head. But anyway, in reference to that call that Houston's talking about, now that we know that, even right after the fact that nobody was hurt, we messed with that dude hard for a few days. Of course, I'd buy him dinner. We'd talk about it, laugh at him a little bit, and he's still a cop. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
But it's just funny as shit to watch dudes go through that, man.
And then we have the incident of the charging cow where the deputy shot at it and missed it like all 37 times he shot it.
Not just one deputy, 2 deputies.
Exactly. Oh my God.
And in that specific frame, if you look at that body camera footage and you zoom in, the FTO, the experienced deputy, great cop as well, he's sitting kind of cornered by a steer. If anybody knows what a friggin' steer is, they have a little bit more of a reach with their horns. And he's kind of got him cornered, and he comes up and he has nowhere else to go. So bottom line, was it authorized? Absolutely. I'm not going to get into that. But as he's being hucked, is like not something else. He's being hucked in the air and discharging rounds as he's being flipped frontwards, and then comes to a landing. And then the bull focuses on the other deputy. I mean, this is like straight out of a comedy movie. Alan, next time I see you, I'm going to show you this video. I may have access. I may know somebody that has access to it. And then it comes towards that deputy, and that deputy starts putting rounds down range. But when you pause the video, the scary part is he's putting the rounds down range. And if you look just to the left within the same focus, the other deputy is standing up. So thank God nobody was hurt. And we had a counseling session after this, only because bull is already off roadway. Let's just trap bull in said fence and go to next call instead of trying to get him deeper back. So going into that, if you look at the totality of the circumstances, the deputies did what they had to do. Nobody got hurt. Oh, and by the way, the steer is fine. No injuries to the steer because that unfortunately couldn't even hit the side of a barn when that happened. When you're getting hit by a bull of that stature and size. But you look back and I put that on a repeat like 10 times, watching him flip up. Only because he wasn't hurt.
The next day, we go in with targets, man, with Holstein cows everywhere and Black Angus and stuff, man. Eyes all over it and everything. It's freaking fantastic, man.
Oh, that's so funny.
And ironically, the week after that happened, man, same two deputies, man.
No, it wasn't even a week, dude. It was 3 days. 3 days after it.
Well, then his patrol car gets stolen.
Yep.
Oh, poor guy! Oh my God!
The guy had the worst couple of weeks of any young officer I've ever seen in my life. I come to work that next morning after all this shit had taken place. And this dude is just absolutely convinced, man, that he is fixing to lose his job and he is never going to be a cop again. And of course, being the sick bastards that we are, we roll into it. Oh my God, dude. Holy shit, man. The sheriff's going to call you about like 8:30 this morning, man. And we got on there and, you get the phone, number changing apps and stuff like that. And about 8:30 that morning, I'm sitting there changing my phone number and dialing in the sheriff's phone number just so.
Y'all are wrong. But that's every day. Honestly, like if you're not ready for that, so anybody going into law enforcement, if you're not ready to partake and have a good time, and because there's a way that we deal with the stress and the incidents and all the bad that comes, and it usually comes out as some might call it bullying, some might call it that's what I went through, so you're going to go through it. But really what it comes down to, that's how we deal with the stress. Because if you can't laugh and joke while you're doing it, then and you keep it bottled up inside, you're going to blow up. And every one of us have dealt with situations that, I've sat there and talked to a suspect that was a sexual assault suspect for an 8-year-old child. And I had to sit there and look him in the eye and act like he did nothing wrong. And, but then the next thing I'm dealing with is, later that afternoon, I'm dealing with a kid that's run away from home and because they don't like their parents. And so I'm dealing with both of those on the same day. And how do you handle all of that? Well, fortunately your friends, which are your local, partners, you do stuff like this to relieve that stress. And it's not, we don't take it as mean and cruel. Now, when you first start the job, you think, crap, they can't be any meaner to me than that. Right. But if you don't learn how to take a little bit of it and then give it back out, then you're going to explode. And I think that's how we all get through it at the end of the day. And I love, these are the type of stories that we release and we love sharing with you guys, because every day is not a major shooting. Every day is not but every day when we strap it on, we're ready for that major shooting. And we have to have that mentality. But you could lose your life just by fighting with that bull today. Or you could lose your life driving in a 30-mile-an-hour traffic zone and somebody runs a red light. It's just, you can't make it up. And unfortunately, we, in our careers, none of us are 1-year career people. We're, several years. And so we've witnessed major wrecks. We've witnessed homicides. We've witnessed sexual assaults. We've shaken baby syndrome. All these little things. And you have to treat everybody equal and show everybody the respect. At the end of the day, most people don't go out to be bad people. There's circumstances for the reasons why they do that. And so we have to treat everybody like they're human. And I say all of that to say, hey, let's show another video. I got another video going.
Let's do it.
All right. And we've gone on a bunch of really good tangents. And I say that to say we've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So this may or may not, I'm having a good time. If you guys are willing to keep going, we can keep going. So
Yeah,
down for whatever, man.
Yeah, we can definitely go a little bit longer, bro.
Okay. All right. So and Biggie size. Okay, I don't know what we're going to yet, but okay. So, what are y'all initial response as an officer that you had your lights and sirens on, and you see that happen in front of you? What are your thoughts right this moment?
Right then and there, we have to stop. We have to render aid to the accident, and because it's an immediate need, we have to.
I just want to ask if this is this a for real police car we've got paused on right here, or is this somebody's dash cam in a private vehicle?
It is a police car.
That's a police car?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Not even, it's different. Just the view, the push bumper that I'm looking at, it looks a little different to me. I'm gonna be honest, I got so enthralled at the hood and the push bumper, I missed the impact. I can see the smoke. I heard it, but I was trying to understand the equipment of this vehicle. Thank you. Oh.
Okay, that's where we were.
Damn, he's lucky he didn't roll that thing over.
He did. It fortunately, it's amazing how the sea parts. I've seen so many of, like, if you go back and watch videos, like traffic camera videos, and it's amazing when an accident like that happens, and like, it's luckily he didn't go head on with somebody. So I'm going to keep it playing. And this is kind of a longer one, so we'll skip.
Stay in the car. Don't move. Don't move. Motor 45. I've got a crash. 6th, just east of 225. Get a couple cars here now. Stay in the. Give me your hands. Show me your hands. Get your hands up, dude. Don't show me. Get your hands up right now. Get your hands up. Yeah. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get away from that motherfucking gun. Get on the ground now.
Get that shit. Nigga,
get on the ground now.
Get that shit. Get that shit. Get that shit.
I'll shoot you.
Get that shit. Get that shit. Get that shit.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Let's just talk about up to this point. I think initially he did I think he did a really good job of, he worried about the situation first. He got his gun out. He knew there was a problem, and then he called it out. Did a good job of telling everybody where he was at. He didn't have like license plates to give anything, but he gave as much information at the time he had. So from there, you guys want to take it. One of you guys take it from there.
just from what I'm seeing right now, and I've heard about this call, people have sent it to me. I just, in the past 2 weeks, I've not had time to watch it. I've had a busy schedule. However, in fact, what I'm watching right now after the impact, and he pulled that out and almost went to felony orders, if you will, kind of like similar to a felony traffic stop. I didn't understand the reasoning at first. I may understand as we watch more, he may have seen something, meaning the police officer on scene that I didn't see. I understand he's not listening. I've gone hands on with unfortunately hundreds of people not listening within my career without my gun drawn. I'm not saying it's wrong. That's again, Banning is not saying this is wrong, but I'm just not seeing the reason to pull the gun yet. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But to what I'm seeing in the body camera, I'm not seeing a gun. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, Houston, but I'm not.
So the one thing that I'll none of us know this call. Okay, I have not seen this video. I have not researched this video. But what I'll tell you is, if he got out of his vehicle with his gun drawn, he knows a little bit more about what's going on.
Yeah.
And so there's a traffic stop and then an accident, or he initiated his lights. That's all we know. We're not reading the story ahead. And so his lights were turned on prior to the accident. Now, at the accident, he stops, he goes to render aid, but he comes out with his gun drawn. So it tells me that he knows something's going on.
And that's what I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to figure out, obviously, a body camera only shows a portion.
Now, what I don't like is right here in the video, you see, we can see one hand. He never shows his right hand.
Right.
And gets out of the vehicle. And so, go ahead.
Also, in general, too, though, one of the things that I think is a clue is, here's the officer. He's already at the intersection. Okay. Generally, whenever you see cops, what happens? People slow down. This guy was speeding up, and he went through that intersection completely without any kind of caution at all, knowing that there's a cop right there. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe this car was involved potentially in a crime that had just occurred.
Okay. So I'm going to play it so we can, okay, so we're all on the same kind of wavelength page. We don't know what the hell's going on, but
Don't shoot me. Get your hands up right now.
There's communication right here, and right here we can't see what he has in his hands. So officer goes to work. I don't like that he didn't have his gun put up if he's going to go hands on.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get away from that motherfucking gun.
I'm not going to question that.
Get on the ground now.
But right there he said, get away from the fucking gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously he's got something belted. He's got something under that shirt that we're just not seeing here. So
I wonder if he, when they tussled, if he dropped it.
If he dropped it, or if he felt it, or if he saw the imprint through that right shirt. There's something. A reasonable and prudent officer is going to holster and go hands on, I would believe, in a situation like this, unless his spidey senses something. He can articulate the fact that he's got a gun and he's not complying with commands. So I understand it up to this point.
Yep. And so I'm going to let it play out a little bit, and we can argue, like we can have a conversation about that.
Get that shit. Nigga, get on the ground now. Get that shit.
So he just says, get that shit. In my opinion, he's telling him to get a gun or something.
Get that shit. Get that shit. Dad, chill. No. Get that shit. No, Dad, chill.
Jay, you just said something, man. That'll get you killed.
Get that shit.
Now, his buddy told him, no, chill, dude. So that's good. Now,
get on the ground. Get that shit. Get on the ground. Oh, yeah. So, you ready for this? You ready for this? Get on the ground. You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh? Get on the ground. You ready for this?
That's a tough one.
So I'm not here to say what he did or didn't do was right. I'm secondhand in quarterbacking. I don't know all the information. I don't know why we initiated our lights. We'll read it here in a minute. I'm gonna this is a pretty long video. I'm gonna look while y'all talk and kind of move forward. But my initial reaction, there's 3 suspects, and they keep coming at him. And on the officer's side, I don't hear any sirens. I don't hear anybody coming to back me up. And so does that make you think one way or the other? There's 3 different people coming at you. But he doesn't have a weapon in his hands.
I can only go on past experiences of what I've done, and being that it is and I've had people to where it was a situation to where my gun was drawn, and then they came up like fisticuffs, and if that, if they don't have a weapon in their hand, well, if they're going fisticuffs, mine is going back in the holster, and I'm coming back up. I'm not saying that this, I don't have enough details on this. I'm not going to render, because I'm nor a judge nor a jury, but just speaking on law enforcement experience, if it's time to go hands-on, it's time to go hands-on. You go hands-on. I'm not sure. I understand we will preach all day long, work, and then communicate. But I think, and we may have heard something earlier, but I was focused on what I'm seeing more than what I'm hearing. I'm hoping that he got on the radio saying, major accident, opposing lane in traffic, block number, whatever, out investigating. And then got a subject, fail on the listen to command, step it up, get units to me now, that type of thing to let dispatch and your partners know out there what you have going on. I'm not saying he's wrong. Obviously, he saw or felt something that I'm not seeing in this video. But going hands-on with somebody should be that. It's hands-on. And I don't believe we're training enough right now across the country to be that peace officer, to know when, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but just personally, I would have gone hands-on and hopefully was successful in taking him to the ground, securing him more, and investigating further. Now, again, Alan, like we were talking about, when he went and pushed and did his thing, I was very disappointed in the fact that he did have his firearm out still, because now a gun is involved, and it's the officer's gun. And if that gentleman was quick, he could have snatched that gun out of his hand. So I'd much rather have that in my holster doing gun retention, dealing with him with hands-on. Other than that, again, he may 100% be justified in this, and I'm not the guy to ask on this other than to give my opinion. Houston, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so Constitutional Country Girl just said something. A fight isn't a death risk. I have to respectfully disagree with that, because unarmed does not necessarily mean not dangerous and not deadly. Okay. This situation, obviously, we don't know all the details of what's going on here. I don't understand why the officer shot there. But to the point that there were three suspects there, and they were all advancing on him. There is an element of fear that goes through our minds that really we can't really explain to you unless you're there, unless you're that person right there. Okay. And it's one of those things that's subjective. It's going to be individual to the officer. I don't know what he had seen. I know what he has said. And I don't know what kind of knowledge this guy has had, or what crime may have been committed beforehand that set him in the mindset where he was at.
%, 100%. And Alan, are you still here? I think he ducked out for a second. And I think we need to watch a little bit more of this video. This is a tough one to absorb with the training that we've received in North Texas enforcement. But Alan, if you don't mind,
So yeah, I'm gonna keep showing the video. The one thing, so in my mind, now that I've got to play it through my mind, and that's what this officer didn't get to do. Just from what we've seen so far, if we did see a gun on the ground or something like that, and there's 3 other people coming at me, I think the hill to die on would be standing over that gun, like instead of backpedaling away from the scene, because now you've got to make sure you're securing that weapon, and so there's a couple trains of thought that I have thinking through this. Like it would have been a hill to die on if there's a gun on the ground and there's 3 people. I'm not going to let them get to that gun. And if they keep coming at me to prevent them from getting that gun, now I'm justified in, protecting myself from them getting to that gun. And then the other thing there is, if you're going to go hands on, you're going to win that battle. Like at the end of the day, if you keep your gun out, you don't keep your gun out, I'm going to win the battle at that time. And nobody says your gun can't become a baton. It just, it becomes a tool to your tool belt. And
what we also don't know is maybe this officer has previous experience with this person.
Yep.
And this.
Exactly. That's a good point. Like, we don't know if he's coming from a robbery, if he's so, all right. So let me, Mama G, we are going to watch the whole video, but what I did jump in front of is body camera showed him giving life-saving measures, and his upper echelon coming and asking questions. So now we're seeing the next camera and what police activity came up with.
Get on the ground now.
Make it big.
Nigga, get on the ground now. Get that shit.
It's on me still. There you go.
Get that shit.
So this is the sound coming from his body camera.
Get that shit. Get that shit. Dad, chill. No. Get that shit. No, Dad, chill. Get that shit. Officer, chill. Dad. Get that shit. Get on the ground. Get that shit. Get on the ground. Oh, yeah. Dad, chill. So, you ready for this? You ready for this? Get on the ground. You ready for this? You ready for this, huh? You ready for this, huh? Get on the ground. You ready for this?
There is something laying on the ground over here on this curb.
Shots fired. 245 shots fired. Give me some cars. Cruiser. Ambulance hot.
Okay, so regardless if I want to talk to scene security. So you just this incident just happened to you. You're a lone officer. You have no backup, but now you have all of these civilians coming. You have all these cars that witness this. Thank goodness there's traffic cam because it's documenting every license plate. So investigators can later go back and investigate and talk to these people and say, hey, what did you see? Because that's going to happen in this kind of scenario, whether it's within your agency in the state of Texas, it's going to be your agency and the Texas Rangers, most likely in most of our departments. Unless it's a big agency, you're going to have a special assigned unit that's going to do a OIS investigation. But everybody is going to be talked to. But in this situation for this officer, right or wrong, if the shooting happened, how do you handle site security for this situation?
Well, first of all, they need to be able to rain resources there now. We've got to close off that right-hand lane, probably at least half of the the middle lane there, all the way up to the accident scene, past the officer's car. There's going to be a big draw up on this for all the audio, all the video. Everything's going to be marked on the pavement, almost like a fatality accident. This is going to be a full blown investigation if it's done correctly. You know, I don't think the officer had a problem with going hands on. As you see, he used his offhand and gave one strike to the face. And was that strike hard? No. I'm not there to physically feel that strike. I've been punched in the face probably more times than most. That's probably why I look like a person that I do, because I've been hit so many times. But he quick. What did the gentleman do? The subject in question. He turned around and turning into a boxing match and started to challenge more physically and coming at him. Again, if this guy had a gun, you have so many. It's a dynamic scene, and a lot of these scenes are. You have the gentleman that was with him in the car. I don't know how many total. I think it was two or possibly three others that were with him in the car during the impact. I think you still have the people that were in I'm going to call it the victim vehicle that got hit from the rear. That were involved in this. We don't know their medical status. We have to be concerned as the peace officer on scene of everybody's medical status once we get there. We've got to be able to get medical aid there quickly. I hate that the scene went down like this. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I absolutely hate that it did go down like this. And I'm not saying this off. I know that there's going to be a full blown 360 investigation on this. Everybody's going to be interviewed. Like Alan said, these public transit cams that are out there, they're going to be able to pause it like what you guys see right now. And the clarity is good enough on the camera where they can zoom in and get what's called a 20 or the license plate for further investigation for detectives or patrol officers to go out to the registered owner's house and unfortunately to rehash this of what they just saw, but to hopefully get a voluntary statement of what happened, because that officer is going to be charged with homicide.
What I'll add to that, Benning, is something most people don't realize. There's a person up here at this apartment complex videoing. There's other people that whipping out their phones and they're recording because they want to immediately put it on TikTok. I can't speak for the other states, but in the state of Texas, if somebody is injured and you have video of it and you don't turn that over, then you've just committed a crime. And in the state of Texas, your phone will be seized. And you can be charged with a crime if you don't call 911 immediately, because somebody has been injured. Whether a cop's on scene or not, you can be charged with a crime. And so you have to do everything as a bystander that you can to get somebody help. And if your first reaction is just to videotape and not to get somebody help, then guess what? You just committed a crime in the state of Texas. And so,
and a lot of people don't realize here, there's a very, very old law on the books here to where, when people call in a family violence of what they hear a floor or two up in a apartment complex, and then they're worried about retaliation. And that happens everywhere in the country. In the state of Texas, there's a statute in there that if you know of or physically see or hear family violence occurring and you fail to report it, that's a charge in itself. Have I seen somebody actually, get charged of that? No. But that charge is there only because the state of Texas, and I know a lot of other states are the same, is very serious on calmness in your home space. And if physical violence erupts, and don't get me wrong, it's not illegal to argue with your spouse. It's when my wife is 99.9% of the time right, but if we verbally argue, that's not against the law. When it becomes more than that and becomes a physical threat, that's when it crosses that threshold into criminal. And if you hear or see that and don't report it in the state of Texas, that's against the law. And a lot of people will come back and rebuke It's none of our business. We're not going to get in that. No, it's there for a reason. There's been too many deaths. And I'm only speaking for one of 50 states. And that's the reason the law went into effect. And it went into effect way before any of us became law enforcement. And that law is there for a reason. Have I personally had to enforce that? I've had to put it in a report a couple times through further investigation, but I don't believe the district attorney has ever laid charges that I'm aware of on somebody that witnessed something and didn't report it. So what Alan is gathering is at least in our state, if you film something and it's seen that you're filming something, the state of Texas will write a proper warrant. It'll be signed by a judge. They don't care about anything else on that phone other than the incident at hand. They're going to remove that information, which is going to have a whole bunch of matrix data in there of when it happened, sometimes the GPS location to articulate why the state has taken possession of it, and it's going to be added to that said case. And correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, Houston, but that is what occurs, and it's on a rare occasion, but it does happen.
And we're not always going to get the information, but in this incident, I can tell you right now that I can count, just looking at it and I can count 5 different people that have their phones out. Mm-hmm. That's 5 different angles.
Yep.
So I did read the description, and it's kind of they left a lot of things out because there's not a lot known.
Sure.
They didn't say anything about. They tried to stop a vehicle for traffic violation when the driver struck another vehicle traveling eastbound in the avenue in Aurora, Colorado. Vehicle crossed the median, collided with the second vehicle going westbound. Following the crash, the officer approached and gave commands to the driver. The man exited the vehicle but did not listen to the officer's instructions. A physical altercation occurred. During the altercation, the officer observed a firearm on the ground near the man. The man was not holding the firearm but advanced towards the officer in a fighting stance while the officer backed away, continuing to give commands. The officer then fired his weapon, striking the man. Additional officers responded to assist him. And I'll speak right now. The time frame for backup to get there is pretty normal for me and you in the rural situation.
Yeah.
For a city like that, I don't think that they got there as quick as I would wanted them to. One of the biggest things that I think happens, people are like, oh, why, sirens and all this. Honestly, that tells me my backup's on the way because I don't give 2 cares about the radio at that point.
And I want to address just real quickly a couple questions in here that I've seen. I don't remember the exact. Anytime a law enforcement agency, state agency, local, county extracts data from your phone, if they are doing their job correctly, they're going to give you a receipt that the machine, when it extracts that data, lets you know the data that was taken from that phone. That warrant only allows them to go in and extract video, photo, or audio from the scene in question. They're not going to go in there and be like, oh, I wonder what Banning was looking at the internet last night. And then they'll be like, oh, he's boring. He was looking at new underwear from Amazon. But can they go in there and look at that with a warrant? You can direct that machine as you see fit as a peace officer. However, there's a warrant number that goes with that. And that warrant number is going to dictate on that affidavit what is being looked for. That is entered into the machine. And then you go into the time and date, and the machine will extract the only data that you're looking for. And there's been some instances, because I've been there at the machine on several occasions, to where they're like, there's nothing on the phone that's reflecting to on that time or date, and then the phone is unplugged and given back to the owner. Usually the owner, a lot of the times, is on site at the location when that data, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's so many detectives out there that give a shit less what you have on your phone. Mm-hmm. They are only interested in the crime that you are videoing or may have captured on your device. So people can make all the jokes they want. Oh, they want this or they want that. No, they want the data specific to that offense so they can go to the next person that may have data on there, and they're building their case. Or, if the officer's in the wrong, they want to be able to pull all the data in there that proves that, because when this goes to court, I think this was a pretty recent
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago.
Ordeal, because I was recently sent a lot. I just haven't had time to watch it yet. I'm glad we got to watch it tonight. There's a lot of people have, hey, Banning, don't you think this officer was wrong type of thing? And I'll read that comment at the bottom. I see Alan laughing. However, they're going to look at this in a 360 motion. If that officer is deemed that was a bad shoot or a constitutional breach or a state law breach, and he did not have authorized to do that, what's going to happen? That officer is going to be relieved of his duties. Now he's going to look at criminal and civil punishment. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be looked at a totality of the circumstances. So when we're looking at these videos at the first time, we can only dictate our opinions based on what we're seeing in that body camera or whatever footage the police activity is supplying. We could be wrong. I will be the first one to tell you that I have been wrong on a few of the videos that we've watched. And I've gone back and said, hey, in reference to that video, I was wrong on that when the investigation unfolded. And I have no problems doing that. But from what I'm seeing tonight, I think it could have been handled a different way. And once this thing is unfolded, I could be wrong on that. But that's just my opinion based on my years of experience on things that I've been deployed on and instructed on in law enforcement.
So, and I want y'all's thoughts on this, a 7-minute response time in a big agency.
Damn, that's a long time for a big agency.
Dude, I can get across my agency. I mean, we're 8,500 people, but coming out of the school, so running from my office, getting in a patrol unit, and getting to the school across town was 3.5 minutes.
Right. And in reference to that comment that just went up on the screen from Craig, and I appreciate how much you're here. I have seen that not cover qualified immunity on several cases across the country, to where criminal charges are impugnated immediately because of the officer's actions, and then he gets charged criminally, and then therefore the liability is also lifted. So the vicarious is what you're in reference to qualified immunity. Now they can go after his personal bank account, his house, his equity that he's built up over the years. When the officer makes that decision, if in fact that he made a friggin' fatal mistake on this, it opens up everything. And I understand the frustration in that comment. And I've been very frustrated with the ones that I have seen that y'all have sent me, to where people were covered. But I'm telling you, in the perfect situation, when criminal charges come in, that qualified immunity is bingo bango, it's out of there, and now they can come at you civilly. So absolutely on that. It pisses me off too. I'll lay my piece out on that.
And in Colorado, they haven't completely stripped the officer of qualified immunity, because I think that's really difficult to do, is to completely take away everything that they're protected by. But in Colorado, a couple of years ago, whenever all the qualified immunity was hot and heavy, they were one of the first states, man, that really jumped in there and really gutted that qualified immunity to a point to where it's going to be really hard for an officer to be covered even under justified circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, still, the thing about qualified immunity, even from our show, it's federal. It's a federal level, and so a state can't come and take qualified immunity away. But you, as an officer, take it away from yourself when you make a bad decision. The moment that you become a criminal or a suspect, qualified immunity can be revoked. And so, in a situation, if they are in an investigation and they decide you've done wrongdoing, qualified immunity kind of goes away. But qualified immunity is there to protect you in my opinion, in the event that you're doing everything in the right. And so you aren't getting sued because you were doing your job. Now, the second that you take it beyond what you're supposed to be doing in your job is when I understand that qualified immunity can be revoked. But I don't want to make this about the qualified immunity show, because I don't have enough knowledge. I'm not a legal person. I'm just speaking what I understand about it as Alan's perspective of if I were dealing with this. So in this scenario, there's a lot of questions that are going to be asked. There was a question up here in the beginning. If this is a good shoot, I'm questioning that. I will personally say that, but I'm not here to say anybody did bad because I don't know all the circumstances. But there was a question earlier on. They were like, I can't believe that there was a headshot. The whole reason why you start pulling the trigger is to stop the threat. And if you still believe they're a threat, regardless of where you ended up shooting them, it doesn't matter because your whole response to it is to stop the threat and stop the danger. Now, there's going to be the question in everybody's mind in this situation: was he a threat, a lethal threat? I have some concerns. I will say that off the bat. And so, but do you guys want to do a different one so we can maybe clean?
Y'all talk for a second. I'm going to tell my daughter good night real quick. I'll be right back.
You know, you start looking at this particular video, and obviously it raises more questions than it answers. There's a lot of things that we don't know, a lot of details, and we obviously don't have the call notes. We don't have what the officer had in front of him.
Well, and you know as well as I do, when some of this stuff goes out, you don't give, as a higher up in an agency, you don't give all the details.
No.
There's a reason, because your DA may be saying, hey, you can't release this. You got to release the video, but you can't release this, and this. So we don't know if they were following this person from a drug deal. And so we know that all three suspects had a gun. There's, guys, there's a lot of things, and a lot of times that, when we did a major drug bust, if we had a search warrant on a major drug bust, the second that judge signed the warrant, we were watching the house.
Yes.
And there was times that we purposefully would do it on a traffic stop and not at the house because there was kids at home. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm working in an agency that there's 15 officers, including CID, the chief, and two people that deal with code enforcement. Okay. So that, and the officers at the school. And so, so to do an incident like that with 3 patrol officers, it's taken the entire agency to do a search warrant, if not the sheriff's department and maybe the local DEA agency. And so we've got every officer. So like in a situation, the judge signs the warrant, we know we're going to go do it. We're watching those people from that moment. And so this could be a situation that there's a whole lot more going on than that can be released to the public, because if we start releasing other details now, we're putting victimless people that could have been the people to go buy from a house, that we're not going to put their data out there until.
I'm actually a little shocked that they were able to get their hands on this video as quick as that happened, because this was what, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah. I will say police activity is on top of it, man. We've had we've had a couple of them. I remember one was 2 days old and they had some body camera footage up there. It was pretty impressive. I'm going
to tell you, I think it was a little irresponsible of the agency to have that be able to get out this quickly, man, because I would think that there's no way the investigation on that is actually complete at this point in time.
Let's just talk to that while he's out. I've got another video queued up whenever you're ready, but
let's go.
Just to talk about a internal investigation of an officer. Say it's a shooting, not a big shooting like this, because there's several agencies involved. Say we have an incident of wrongdoing of an officer that maybe they just talked bad to somebody.
Right.
How long would that investigation, for the most part, take for you to handle as a leader of an agency?
Okay, something as simple as that, 3 to 5 days generally is whenever you can have that wrapped up. Something as complicated as this, 3 to 5 months. I mean, because you really have to investigate everything. It's kind of like, look at something maybe as complicated as a murder. Okay, for these agencies, yeah, they may have their person in custody within 24 to 48 hours, but that investigation is going to continue for months because they have so many different details and so many different pieces of evidence and things, man, that they have to process. Different people that they have to talk to. They have to get motive. They have to. It gets to be so convoluted.
Well, and then added to that, and this is sad, but this is the truth. Then you have to take it to the city attorney, the city manager,
Yes.
and you say, "Hey, these are my plans with this officer," and they may disagree with you. They may say, "No, you're stuck with them, and you got to keep them," or they may say, "No, regardless if you want to keep them, they got to go." And then you got to go, okay, well, what's my like? How do you want me to handle it? Because you don't get to make some of those decisions. You don't get to make. And so then you've made the decision. Okay, I'm gonna move in this direction. And you know how talking to any attorney's office is, you're not getting that answer right away. And so, it's not like people are like, I can't believe they haven't fired him yet. There's a reason why people get put on leave and then a week later they still haven't made a decision, because it's a bureaucracy.
And Constitutional Carry Girl asks, shouldn't citizens be privy to the same info law enforcement is? Yes and no. There is due process, okay? And whether you're an officer or a citizen, due process is important. Okay, I do agree that transparency is important, and it should be out there. Don't get me wrong. However, due process is necessary in this situation, just like it is everywhere else. However, because it is a police matter, the due process, I how am I going to say this? Okay.
Well, everybody has the right to be
it's going to be expedited a little faster than
Yep.
than normal than what it would be if it was just regular Joe Blow citizen and this situation. So it's simply a yes and no question.
Right.
A lot of that, I know here in Texas, this if they were going to be screaming for this video, the attorney general is going to be involved in that, man, and they're going to give their opinion, and it's going to slow things down a lot to allow for a lot of different reasons, man, to allow an investigation to be completed, but also to I understand transparency is important. I do agree with that. But at the same time, too, there is due process and investigation completed as well.
Well, and there's some things that, okay, so say this incident goes down in my rural America. I can't just release this body camera. I don't care what FOIA you produce. I have to go. The agency is going to have the responsibility to release what they can, even when you ask. And I agree with that. I agree that you can come and ask. But I also have to go to my attorney, which is a city attorney. And then the city attorney is going to say yes or no. And then I have to go to the district attorney, who is going to try the case. And if that district attorney says yes or no, I have to follow their rules. And then it could be handled federally too, because there's other federal. And so now I have to go to the federal attorney that's involved in this case. And so think about dealing with 3 different agencies. I mean, now you're dealing with 3 different attorneys, and then you have the, all of this stuff has a legal, a civil side, and all of this side, this stuff has a thorough investigation on the criminal side. And so you have all the different agencies that are involved in that. I'll tell you right now, our agency is going to do the internal investigation with the help of some other agencies, and then the criminal agency is going to be turned over to the Texas Rangers. And so then, but what people don't understand about the Texas Rangers, and when we turn it over to them, they don't solely take responsibility for it. They're going to investigate it alongside your agency and do everything they can to assist your agency and do it regardless. If you want to like push it off on them, they're not going to completely accept it. And so, there's a lot that goes into it, and that's from a small agency side. I couldn't even tell you what it would be like for the Texas DPS. Like I could only imagine the extra, steps and how many other extra attorneys are going to be involved. It's not going to be a lot, a little bit.
The one thing that I think we can all agree on in this is this situation certainly does not look good.
Nope.
It not 100. God bless America, 110%. This does not look good.
No. All right, let's move on to the next one,
Yeah.
and we'll see how this one goes. We've been going for 3 hours, so we promised another one. We'll get it going for you guys. I promise the sound's turned on.
Hey, turn over. Hey, what's in your hand? Get the fuck up. Hey, he's got a knife. Hey, turn over. Hey, what's in your hand? Get the fuck up. Hey, he's got a knife. 44 Mary 998.
There's one more video, guys. Oh, no.
It's almost, from what we're seeing right now, it's almost the ability to comment on this is tough.
So the guy's on a bike. The officers stop, and they're talking to him from the video. He takes off running.
Hey, turn over. Hey, what's in?
So what do you see with this? Just right here. I mean, before even the gunshots are fired.
We've got a physical struggle, and that's what I'm seeing so far. We've got a physical struggle, and then somebody audibly says he has a knife. But again, to comment on this based on this look is very tough. That the white light of whatever he's using on his mounted light, or it's completely bleaching out the whatever we're supposed to see in that paused clip right there.
Okay, so whenever he was getting up, the officer that was on top of him first, okay, there, all of a sudden there's a big red mark on the officer. I mean, like, was he carrying something beforehand?
When he left the bicycle, it seemed like he just took off running from the officers.
Okay, if we look at the bicycle, okay, if we look at
Hey, turn over. Hey, what's in your hand? Get the fuck up. Hey, he's got a knife.
I'm trying to get back to it, guys.
No.
Okay, he took off running there from the bicycle. And one officer is immediately on him. So right here, the officer's on
Yeah.
him.
Okay, so I'm curious. The red spot did we get? It almost appears as if the officer may have gotten injured somehow. If you look at the extreme amount of red right there.
That's a shirt.
Okay.
Right here. This is a shirt. I don't know if there's like a hoodie or something that's unzip.
That's whenever I saw the officer on top and then they rolled off and
Hey, turn over. Hey, what's in your hand? Hey, he's got a knife.
The second one, see if. So some would say right here, I honestly am pretty impressed with the magnets on the newer body cameras, because I've been in many an altercation where I haven't kept my body camera with me like these guys are.
They've actually come out with some new ones.
It's pretty impressive. Like
that are stationary. They've got 4 different now. For all the different competitors out there in body cameras that are fully stationary and clipped on.
It's amazing.
I've had kicked off of me.
Yeah, like I can't tell you how many struggles I've been in, and the only thing after the fact is you're getting a picture of the ground or something because it got swooped, 10 feet in the wrong direction. And so I when I watch some of these, like this one, I'm like, how did they even have a body camera?
Hey, turn.
So in my mind, right here, I struggle with this. Like, Eric says it probably every show is there's a time to go hands on and get do work. And regardless if he has a knife, those kind of things, it's like you got 2 officers and you're on top of him. At some point, we got to be able to subdue his hands, and the knife's no longer an issue. That's just what I feel. And I don't ever want to say, I'm going to be the first bootlicker here, guys. I just doesn't look good.
Hey, what's in your hand? Hey, he's got a knife.
I will say right there, this officer, we're seeing his body camera, and I think the other officer is the one shooting. From how it sounds and what it looks like, he did a really good job to get out of the line of fire. They were pointed kind of straight on to each other, and the way we've made a decision to get away. That's fine. If you can't subdue somebody and get their hands behind their back and you make that decision, distance is your friend. And so we got to do that. And he did a really good job of getting out of the line, the line of fire of his buddy. So I will stop sharing and I will try to figure out how to read the description. Y'all talk while I figure that out.
Yeah, and a lot of these that we show, again, Alan hasn't seen it. Myself, Houston, we haven't seen these. So obviously that's why we give the graphic warning in the beginning of this. We don't know what we're about to see. So for anybody that's got a soft stomach, or anybody that's just humanistic for that matter, we don't want to ingrain something in your mind that may screw you up mentally. Houston and I are about as screwed as you can get. Alan's probably right up there too, in reference to that, and we deal with it accordingly. The last thing we want to do is give a visual reference to y'all that gives you any bad thoughts or anything. So we're always here for that too. If you want to private message us for stuff, and there's a lot of programs out there, and I've got to put that out there because even though you're just watching a body camera footage of something, at least since 2002, there's been a lot of courts that have looked after jury pools of looking at these things to make sure that they have that mental outreach after sitting through a jury trial. And we as people, you're not born and in diapers one day and it's vested that you're going to be a cop and you can handle all the things you're going to see for the next some odd, whatever years of your life, and you're going to be able to digest that and be fine. I've seen a lot of messed up shit in my career, and there's been a lot of times where I could call Houston. I could call my wife, longtime dispatcher. I could go sit down with guys like Alan, guys like Erik, and hey, this is the type of call I was at. Without giving details of the call and breaking any type of CGIST or Department of Policy, you can sit down and discuss it with your peers in the course that you do, and that helps a little bit. But sometimes you even have to reach further and get that mental stability off of just one call that you went to. Here in North Texas, we had a kid injured once that ruined a couple careers. And when I say ruined, it's we're not even going to go into the details of what happened, but it involved a minor, and there's some people that stepped away from law enforcement, and rightfully so, for what their eyes, their heart, and their brain took in, because it was so relatable with the children that they had, that we had. You can't just take in that stuff and say, I'm great. And that's what I with the liability statement state that, your administrators want you to be able to take that stuff in and then clock out for 8 hours, go get your sleep, come back and do everything again with what you saw the shift before. And that's just not the case. There's, these two officers that were just involved in the call that we just saw, or the one before that when the officer had to do the action that he did, he has to live with that, or she has to live with that for the rest of their lives. And there's going to be a lot of counseling in the future if they handle it correctly. And it may not be until 10 years from the incident. I mean, I know Alan and Houston can speak all day long on peers that we've had in law enforcement that have needed help 10, 15 years after one incident that they went to that really plays as we call replay. Some people call it PTS. Some people call it PTSD. I personally don't put the D on the end of it, because when you look at something as a disorder, as a law enforcement or military, you don't think it's fixable. When you look at it as just stress, you can at least identify it, allow time to help, and talking with the right people and different things that are out there for that type of thing. And Houston is more of an expert than I'll ever be in that, because he personally went through an injury to that. But that has to be covered in the show that we do. The afterthought or aftermath of the people that were there, just the civilians that were there in the cars, the people that saw this from 100 people or 100 feet away, that had to witness, something as atrocious as gunfire. We live in the United States. We want our everything to be safe. And sometimes you're going to be exposed to that. And all I'm saying is if you are, or if you were, never fret on going and speaking to somebody about it, even if it's somebody from our panel. We may have experienced something similar. We are definitely not mental health experts. We may be able to tell you based on our opinion of what we've gone through, Houston being the reigning expert, if you will, on what he's gone through and the other calls that he's been through. I've been through some doozies as well, but not to me physically or personally. I've been lucky enough to where I've been unscathed leaving the calls that I've gone to. But I just want you to think about that. Is you've got to be able to talk about the situations just as a person, regardless of what you do for a living. If you saw something that's bugging you upstairs in your mind and in your heart, talk to somebody about it. And something weighed on me just to put that statement out.
Well, I'd add to that. So I read the description of this vehicle. So they stopped the man riding a bicycle without a headlight. If you know anything about Phoenix, it was the 20th Street of Sunland Avenue. Okay. So attempting to elude the officers on the bike, he eventually stopped, stood next to the bike. Officers got out of the vehicle before contacting him. When they went to the ground to take him into custody, there was a struggle. We all saw that. One of the officers saw the man pull a knife and step back, and then notified his partner. And so the rest is what we saw. But to add to what you're saying there, all of this takes a mental toll on you. And just to pull out, like I've never actually fired my gun at a person. I was pulling the trigger back and had made the decision to do it. And it's something I get emotional about speaking about it. And when I start feeling that emotion, I learned a long time ago that you have to finish that emotion, and you have to, like, if you keep it inside, it will build up and it'll blow up. And that's where you start having problems.
Right.
And if you're not willing to release that, and so for me, doing that here on this show is one of the ways that I release that. Like you're saying, find a friend to talk to. Sometimes the worst people in your life to talk to are family, because they know you too well. They know that, and they judge you. And so sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's just a complete stranger. So if you don't know who to talk to, reach out to any one of us. We all kind of have some great sources for that, but we're here to provide assistance in that, because we don't know what you're going through every day. You don't know what we're going through every day, but there's the reason why we all went through it. And at the end of the day, our experiences may be able to help somebody. I hear Banning talk about Houston's situation a lot, and y'all are really close and are really good friends. But I think that's how you relieve that stress a little bit, Banning, is being able to, because you lived some of that stress, not in any way that like Houston did, but y'all are so close that when he went through it, you went through it in a different way. And so I think it's a good outlet. We all have to be bigger than ourselves and realize that, it's good to talk.
Yeah. Back in the day, you talk about now, man, and talking about it, and God dang it, man, that's so important. But back in the day, whenever I started in law enforcement, whenever Banning started in law enforcement, the general attitude in general was suck it up, buttercup, man.
Yep.
Let's go to the next call. To some degree, it's still like that, depending upon where you're at, what agency you're with, and how old you're.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Different parts of Texas, different parts of the country, you're going to treat different things. These situations obviously different. The awesome thing is today the things that are available are so much greater than they were even back in 2015 whenever I got shot. Okay. In 2015, the resources then were starting to come around, but it was still very minimal. Okay, there wasn't a lot there. I know whenever I went to after my shooting, I told a couple of people, man, I'm kind of fucked up over this deal, and I need to talk. I really got judged pretty bad. I really got judged pretty harshly over that. Did I give a shit? No. And I'll tell you why I didn't, because I was me and they were them. And what were they going to do? Fire me? I didn't give a shit if they fired me at all. If they wanted to, cool. You're fixing to make me a goddamn millionaire. Okay, let's just remember that. And they knew that. But I stood firm and I told them exactly what was going on, and I made them look at it. I made them see it, and that was important. And so for your new officers that are out there, man, and maybe God forbid you ever have to go through anything like this, dog. God forbid any officer tonight anywhere in America has to take a life. Okay, they have to make that decision to do that. Let's talk about it, though.
Yeah. Well, and I'll also add, anytime that you're a victim of a crime, in the state of Texas, I can't speak to states I don't know anything about, but there's victims' rights and victims' rights coordinators. And so if you've been a victim of a crime, the state has programs within the DA's offices around the state that can get you help as well. And just because you went through it doesn't mean you should have to live through it. And so you're always going to live it. You just need to learn how to deal with the emotions that go with it.
Yeah.
And somebody made a comment about how they're desensitized because they've been at gunpoint by the cops many, many times. And that's not, unfortunately, we don't know what your life has been like, and that's not, that sucks. But, at the end of the day, that shouldn't been how you view cops. And, I can't tell you how many times all of us have seen this. I worked in a school district and had this kid that wouldn't talk to me in the school. And I just couldn't understand it. I was like, man, like usually this kid is really like, I knew something was going on, and it was kind of eating me up that day. And I finally, got out of my own head, and I looked into the situation a little bit more. And the night before, there was a domestic at his house, and both mom and dad were arrested. The kid's at school at 8:00 in the morning. The domestic happens at 10:30 p.m. What do you think the kid's going to think of a cop the next day at school? And first off, it's pretty amazing the kid's at school. So now he's getting food. It's all those kind of things. And so I didn't push the topic and say, hey, you got to talk to me. I just went to the resources I had available and said, hey, we need to make sure this kid eats. Hey, if this kid's out, has an issue today, maybe we just need to get him a nap, because that his evening did not go well. This happened at 10:30 at night. Both mom and dad weren't there. So who took care of him? Did grandma take care of him? I'm not saying we need to pull him into the counselors or the principal needs to go and talk to him, but the kid's 13 years old. And you expect him to go and take some state tests today? That's just not. That's
a lot to digest, man.
And yeah, right, wrong, or indifferent, the cop has to be the bad guy at this point. And so I had to look outside of myself and say, hey, there's something else going on. And so we ended up getting that kid some food that day, above and beyond what normally he got at school. Got him a nap, and he had a whole different attitude the rest of the day. And it was really but I went out of my way to do that. And somebody, I noticed that so it started first thing that morning. He came in the front door of the school, and I always stood at the front doors of the school and high-fived all the kids. And it was almost like a pep rally at the front door, all like me and 3 other teachers. It was always the same way every morning. But that day, the kid didn't give me a high five, and it really bothered me. And there was always kind of our interaction that we always had every day. Each kid would, different kind of high five or knuckles or whatever it was. And so I took it upon myself to, and fortunately I lived in a smaller community where I could call the PD and go, hey, did we deal with this certain house today? Like something didn't feel right. And that's when I found out. And so I had to realize that you just never know what somebody went through and why they are giving you a bad attitude. And so you just have to be bigger than yourself and know just because somebody's talking crap or being rude, it's probably not because of you. It's probably because of something else, and can't have too big an ego to well, now I'm going to be more aggressive with this person or something. So, but guys, we've been going for 3 hours and 22 minutes. What do you guys want to share out there that we haven't shared so far?
I just appreciate everybody that comes week in, week out, to our shows. Thank you for the support. I can care less about the monetary support. That's not what this is about. But you guys that come in and leave the comments, and those of you that, when you first started coming to our stuff, really didn't respect law enforcement because either of a personal thing or something you may have seen on social media. And I appreciate the fact that you decided to stay to find out what we had to say. And we're a very small group in the United States, but we don't mind getting in front of a camera and giving, here, quote unquote, banning his opinion. We don't mind giving that out there. And we're here every week. I wasn't able to make it last week, I believe, or the week before, one of the two, because of work, and work will always triumph what I do as a hobby, because obviously work is my jam. But we have to do that. Same with Houston. Same with Alan. Same with Erik. Whenever work trumps it, we have to handle work. But anytime we have off Monday nights at these times, we're going to be here. And I never try to bring the sappy stuff in reference to mental health. But to me, being in as long as I was, Houston, Alan, the stuff that we've seen, it's important for us to get that knowledge out there, because there may be a young recruit or somebody that's going in or somebody that's been in for 25 years, 30 years, and they don't understand what that outlet is. Or even you, John Q. Citizen, that's looking at everything on social media, and you're also being affected by what you're being seen. So I want to make sure you're minding your mental P's and Q's, that you're on top of that situation. That's a big thing with us. Unfortunately, Houston and I have had people that we've trained in law enforcement that have taken their lives because of stress, because of things that's going on. And I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about multiple within our career. And Alan is probably also known, and Erik, I know for a fact, is also known people that's done that. So with us, we will continue to bring you content, meaning our opinions on body camera footage, unfolding that in front of you guys and giving you our opinion. However, I want to make sure that you, as the viewer, are taking care of your mental health care. And I will speak on this at length and on any stage in front of anybody. You're not a wuss. You're not a whatever to take care of your mental health. This is number one in our lives, because if your mental health is messed up, you're messed up. And you can't bring the world your best day. Your kids, your spouses, your friends, your family are affected if your friggin' mental health is not there. And I am definitely not perfect. My mental health has been messed up in the past, and I've been able to raise that flag and speak to the people that I need. I don't care how Billy badass you think you are. Take care of this. Take care of your heart. That's a big thing. And as long as you do that, I personally will bring you my 100% each and every week when we do this.
Guys, I'm going to tell you, it's been I appreciate a platform like this because we can actually have a conversation. Whether we agree with the people commenting or not doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is we can actually have this conversation. We can do it civilly. We can do it, and at the end of the night, man, we can all choose to be friends. Guys, I'm going to tell you, it's been a really heavy week in the United States here lately. So many different things going on, and I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you. Whether I agree with you or not doesn't matter. I still appreciate you guys. I still love each and every one of you guys. And as law enforcement officers, we're not always going to agree with everybody that we deal with, okay? But at the end of the day, we're still going to go out and we're still going to do our job. Whether we're retired now, which, thankfully me and Benny are, to those that are actually still serving, we're still going to go do our job. Guys, I just want to say, man, let's start loving on each other a little bit more, and maybe a lot of these situations will start going away. I'm not saying that they will completely erase, but in light of everything that's been going on in the United States, guys, right now, it's the time we need to come together, and it's the time, man, that we need to embrace each other. We need to embrace law enforcement officers. We need to embrace the people that we don't agree with, and even the ones that we do agree with, and let them know we love them more than anything, man. And whether I agree with you or not doesn't matter. I still love you. and we're still going to go. We're still going to go down fighting for everybody involved.
Yep. So I want to say we had a super chat. Thanks for supporting the show. BMHSCHC Outdoors. Sorry. A few too many drinks here. Probably not. But, to
shows your human side, brother. Human side.
Nobody said I was a great speaker. So I completely, we appreciate y'all, and God bless America. At the end of the day, we're all people and we all love it. We need to have love for each other. And that means a whole lot of different things in a whole different way. But thank you, Craig. But I appreciate that very much, and do everything we can to keep it running smoothly. But we all have different thoughts and different processes because we're all different people. And at the end of the day, we don't have to all agree, but we do have to respect each other and care for one another and look out for each other, because you don't know what I went through yesterday. I don't know what anybody else went through, but we need to have compassion and love for each other and know that we want to see tomorrow. And so the only way to do that is look out for one another. And I appreciate everybody, and I really want to say a huge shout out to Erik. I know what he's doing tonight, and stay safe, brother. And thanks for having me around. And both of you guys, thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to end it here, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Good night, guys.
Yeah, just real quickly, if you guys are not on LinkedIn yet, please get on LinkedIn. Look up this fat mug, Banning Sweatland. Connect with me. I will definitely connect with you, especially if you have something that you want to talk about that's happened personally. I will make the time. It may take a few days. I will make the time to reach out to you. There's a lot of people that are in this chat that know me personally, that have my personal number, and I do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Mental health is not something to mess around with. Or if you just want to get connected, again, that's LinkedIn. That's the only platform I know how to properly use, because I'm a little on the slow side for other things. But LinkedIn is my jam. So get connected, LinkedIn.com. Reach out to Banning Sweatland, Houston Gas, and Alan Nelson, and friggin' Erik, and get connected on there, because we can't reach back to you. In the Discord, what's up there right now from Marine's Blood, muy importante. Get on there. It doesn't cost you a dime, and we get back to y'all as soon as we can on that. But thanks again. Appreciate y'all coming tonight, and we'll be here next week, Monday, same bat channel, same